Also, look at their fingernails. They're facing the wrong way. How can this be? The answer isn't pretty. The condition is called hypermobility. Though the phrase double jointed is commonly used, it's mostly genetic, meaning you are either born with this unusually large range of movement or not. Only 20% of people have it, though typically not to this degree, and there's no way for the rest of us to gain this talent, if you want to call it that, so don't even try to practice. Like most people, watching this video makes me feel like my fingers are going to fall off. Tell me if you would be able to shake the hand of someone with hypermobility while they were doing this. I mean, it's creepy, but also kind of cool. A doorbell cam video at 3 a.m. has caught some scary moments on tape that people need to see. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. A ghostly white apparition forms before the camera half a minute before 3 a.m. It looks pretty good at first, but then it kind of looks less real the longer you look at it. If I saw this phantom-like figure outside of my... Experts have yet to debunk a YouTube channel claiming to break the very boundaries of space and time. The channel features no less than 8 videos taking place over the course of a year, which focus on a strange glowing device. The device apparently uses different tones and frequencies to experiment with interdimensional travel. Here you can see the first real signs of success from a video in 2017.
There's the fracture.
Some sort of molecular rift opens between his very eyes and looks very convincing. The rift appears to move very realistically with the camera and does not look to be CGI. After a few months of research and careful adjustments, he finally figures out the correct combination of frequencies to open the rift wider than ever before. Again, nothing about this looks like CGI to me. The way the rift moves with the camera would have been very hard to digitize frame by frame in my opinion, especially when the camera goes out of focus at the 1 minute 50-second mark. Soon the edges of the rift grow thin, and another world emerges. If this video is to be believed, then what you could be staring into is an alternate timeline of our own world. So far, video editing experts have yet to disprove this video, so let me know if you think it's fake or real based on what you've seen here. If you're going caving, do it at the right time of day. Posted to TikTok by Andrew Smith. This caver found out the hard way that underwater caves have a high tide. As the cave fills with water around him, he has nowhere to go. The water comes rushing at the staircase as the cave continues to fill dramatically. We can assume these cavers made it out alive enough to post this video, but most in the comments say they're goners just watching this. I seriously hope everyone was alright. It's Alive YouTube channel Scary Station features this strange creature that frankly looks to me like a human head. It looks like a head until it does this. Even if these guys poked and prodded the thing all night, I don't think we'd be any closer to knowing what it is. All I know for sure is, it's giving me the chills. 30-year-old Alexa was returning to her Bronx home in University Heights when she got that feeling in the pit of her stomach. She detailed what happened to her in a Twitter thread in September of 2018, noting that she wrote the thread to warn women in her neighborhood to be aware that this person is out there. Alexa said she was returning home by Uber at 3:50 a.m., heading to the lobby of her building, when she got a strange feeling that she wasn't alone, as she suspected, and the building security footage confirmed she wasn't. A man had followed her through the courtyard outside and quickened his pace to enter the lobby right behind her. Alexa notes in the thread that she didn't see or hear the man watching her. When she was in the lobby, she realized there was a figure hovering outside the front door, waiting in the first entryway. She decided to double check the door locked behind her. She turned to the door to shut and lock it and noticed he had his foot on the corner, ensuring the door didn't close after she entered. She notes that the man likely intended to confront her outside the building, which is why he didn't enter the lobby all the way, or he was waiting for her to head toward her apartment so he could run after her and force his way in. Don't worry, he didn't have a chance. Alexa shut the door, moving his foot out of the way to do so. Unfortunately, the suspect had a scarf wrapped around his face to ensure he wouldn't be identified by security cameras. She notes that drivers should always wait until their passengers reach their front doors safely. In her case, the Uber driver left when she got out of the vehicle. Alexa also remarks that, without the security footage to back her claim, her story would undoubtedly have been questioned and disbelieved. These stories should always be listened to and heard, and above all, as Alexa did, always trust your gut. When two strangers pull up to your boat on the Nile, you have to assume the worst. This area is known for pirates. They cast a line and tie themselves to the ship in preparation to board.
Oh dear Lord.
The one in white reaches down and then back turned, stands up while holding something.
Alright guys, look for art. Does anyone see an G in there?
He reaches back into his pocket and pulls out nothing but towels. As it turns out, this area is full of traveling salesmen too, even at sea. Still, I think they probably should have ran for help as soon as they thought these could be pirates, instead of recording in plain sight and making themselves an easy target. When you can command a door to open and close, you may just have the gift, published by the Scottish Ghost Company. In February of 2022, this investigation of an industrial complex turned super creepy when the investigators' commands were granted. The pair is alone in the warehouse aside from the ghosts. You can hear them communicating via the spirit box in the adjacent hangar throughout the video. The pair approaches a door and asks the spirit to open it if he or she is still with them.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
In answer, the door slowly swings open. A moment later, when asked to close the door, the spirit acquiesces, slamming the door shut.
Really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Many in the comments call this activity mind-blowing and wonder if it's real. Is this a portal to another world? Step on through if you dare.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
These two unidentified flying object sightings are eerily similar. Posted on Reddit by GamersGen. These two sightings from Miami and Beijing are comparative. The first appeared in Beijing on February 3rd, 1995. The unidentified flying object hovers as an illuminated yellow disc in the evening sky. After a while, it starts to glide slowly overhead. GamersGen posts a second video in the comments, one which looks similar to the first but was captured on October 20th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was spotted along a freeway. The driver pulled over to capture it hovering near an apartment complex and then over Miami Airport. GamersGen suggests that today, unidentified flying objects aren't seen as often for a reason. His theory? They have become more cautious, and further said, they seem to be extremely aware of us observing them, and above all, they don't want to be compromised. What do you think? It makes sense to me, and these two sightings are certainly quite similar. Two friends are playing around with a camera in an old basement. I won't even tell you what to look for. Just watch and see if you can find anything out of the ordinary.
Bars down as I'm going. Okay. Now we're gonna do some weightlifting.
Here it is again if you missed it. Let me know if you saw this supposed shadow person on the first try. I will admit that you have really good eyes if you did. If this video is real and not just someone who is dressed up, then this is definitely one of those videos that makes you wonder what other possibly paranormal events have gone on right in front of you without noticing. This footage was taken by an American tourist who was visiting Romania. He was just walking around a local zoo on his own, checking out the sights when he hears about a new attraction that is unlike any of the others. He is ushered into a dark farmhouse along with some other curious observers. Almost immediately, the tone of the video changes from skeptical to serious. It's hard to say exactly how, but something just feels wrong all of a sudden. You can hear the villagers talking among themselves, excitedly as they push past. Farm animals are making noises as the American makes his way deeper inside. This section is very dark now, and even though the Romanians are speaking in a different language, you can tell that people are sounding worried and concerned as they come closer and closer to the main attraction. Finally, the American tourist sees it for himself. Sitting across from them on a straw floor is what appears to be a white humanoid creature with black eyes and a wide gap for a mouth. It makes a series of tortured gurgling sounds and then charges towards its cage as the video quickly ends. It's hard to tell if this is a real creature or a man in a suit because the lighting is very dim. At the same time, Romania is a very rural country, and anything could be lurking in the woods. Maybe someone really did capture this thing and drag it back to society to be gawked at by paying crowds. If this thing is real, then the poor humanoid sounds like it's been severely mistreated and probably needs help. Time to brush your teeth. Published to YouTube by Talal Essa in April of 2017. You'll probably be triple checking your tap before you do that after watching this video. Asking why does black water come out of the tap? Talal demonstrates this unsettling happening, letting his tap run with inky, brackish, blackish brown water emitting from the faucet. The color does not dilute at all in the entire minute that he leaves it running. Is this toxic water? Probably not. Many in the comments offer suggestions for what's likely going on, with YouTuber Jack Jamin suggesting the color is likely due to heavy metal buildup, he says. Mick Bradford in Rumble Lane went another way though. Bradford asks, do you have a well and live next to a cemetery? Well, Rumble Lane simply states, there's a demon in your faucet. Certainly looks like it. Paranormal investigations can be a scary experience in a group, so imagine conducting one all by yourself. The Spectral Researchers of Central Florida is a group dedicated to investigating alleged paranormal activity from across the state. Aside from doing the normal group investigations, members have also gone to locations alone to explore and potentially collect evidence. This is a method often done by paranormal researchers and is therefore more susceptible to encounters. On February 21st, 2021, member Robert ventured to the Hall House, a former assisted living facility. With the help of a Kinect, he ventures through the building hoping the infrared dots on the device will help pick up any unseen entities. 3 minutes into the investigation, Robert captures a thump coming from behind him.
I just heard some big loud thump.
While it could easily be the sound of Robert walking, he has been walking around frequently throughout the video, and not once do his footsteps make a sound resembling such a noise. In fact, they are practically silent. Later, while in another room, Robert accidentally walks into something protruding from the wall. This is understandable as it was pitch black in the house, but what is strange is if you listen closely, you can hear someone whisper what sounds like toe. The voice sounds too high to be Robert's, and it doesn't appear to be his breathing as the voice can be heard happening at the same time Robert is exhaling. Just before the 6-minute mark, he enters a room and asks whose room it was. Well, it is rather faint, an answer comes sounding along the lines of mine.
Again, are you a former resident?
Could whoever used to reside there be confirming it was they who lived there? One possible creepy moment happens when Robert is standing in another room, looking out into the hallway. Several green lights are projecting from a device on the floor to both help Robert see the walls in the dark and potentially capture any entities which might block out some of the beams. As he looks into the hall, it looks as if there is a figure standing at the opposite end. The figure appears to be wearing some sort of gown, which would make sense as this might have been the garments worn by a former resident. Robert doesn't appear to see the figure, possibly because of how dark the room was, and the apparition may have been more visible in the camera's night vision. It can be seen at several other instances when Robert looks down the hallway until it completely vanishes. Close to the halfway point of the investigation, Robert's camera appears to have a malfunction. Without explanation, the focus suddenly becomes fuzzy. Robert notices this and wonders if he accidentally zoomed in. However, us viewers can clearly see he did no such thing, and the vision blurred randomly as he panned over. Ghosts have been known to cause technical faults in electrical equipment, a phenomenon explained as entities drawing energy from the various devices investigators use. This can cause batteries to rapidly drain, lights to flicker, and even equipment to break. Luckily, the picture corrected itself after a minute. The picture returned to normal just as quickly as it had malfunctioned. One commenter points out they heard what they believe sounded like a woman saying, "I see nothing but the darkness as we move." Upon investigation, we could not hear what sounded like a woman speaking, but what it does sound like is the shuffling of feet and even a faint step. Robert is standing still at the time, so it is not him. Have a listen for yourself and see if you can hear the voice. The most compelling evidence comes when Robert can sense someone in the corner of the room. When he points to connect there, the device projects a figure seated, facing towards him.
Hello? Would you be able to tell me your name?
The figure even appears to brace itself against the wall to stand. When Robert asks for a name, the figure appears to either wave or gesture to something. It is difficult to determine which. Robert's investigation of the building definitely paid off with this discovery, and we are hoping the team returns to the location in the future. While not full of activity, there was certainly enough to determine something has remained long after the doors were closed for good. Walking down an empty hallway can sometimes send shivers all over your body, especially when the hallway looks like this. Spurgburglar from Washington in the US uploaded this spooky video in 2016. He says that his flat is upstairs, and he makes his way through this hallway in the middle of the night 6 days a week. The hallway in and of itself is spooky. The sound on top of it is nothing short of ominous. The noise certainly is thumping and rhythmic like music, but it's unclear what it is or where it's coming from. It gets louder as the uploader approaches the end of the hallway and the beginning of a new one. A new sound enters into the mix, like a heart pounding. While the thumping declines, the heart pounding remains. Then you hear some sort of haunting music enter in faintly, before it escalates the closer he gets to the elevator. The video of the hallway also distorts a bit. Your heart races as you anticipate a jump scare from something unknown, but when he pushes the elevator button, the audio disappears. What could this possibly be? I don't know if I want to know.
This is a huge 10-foot fish. Even the locals don't even know what this is.
This underwater discovery is scary to visitors and locals alike because never before have they seen such a strange sea creature sighting. It's unknown exactly when this video was taken. Somewhere in Mexico is the best I could find, but I can tell you what this is called. It's an oarfish, and it gets its name because it's roughly as long as a rowing paddle. Everyone is perplexed by what to them is a mysterious encounter. In reality, the oarfish looks twice as aggressive as a shark, but actually poses no harm to you unless you are underwater plankton. Its main diet, strange appearance aside, There's one other reason to be afraid of this fish. According to Japanese folklore, oarfish wash ashore when an earthquake is coming soon. Apparently it's happened so many times in the past that they've even done experiments to see if it's true. They weren't able to prove the myth true, but one lead scientist talked about changes in catfish behavior that have been observed up to 10 days before an earthquake. So if a catfish acts strange before an earthquake, then an oarfish could too, in my opinion. If anyone knows the date and location of this video, then please tell me. That way I could look up any reports of seismic activity after this video was taken to see if the legends are true. Impending earthquake or not, seeing this creature wash ashore on a sunny day and not knowing what it was would be enough to make me grab my luggage and get the heck out of there. That's one freaky fish I'd rather not chance brushing across in the water. There's an eerie sound coming from the Golden Gate Bridge that is making people lose their minds. A constant haunting hum that can be heard from miles away. Try to guess what it is.
Oh, did you believe that? Oh my god. We didn't have to go to the park tonight. Wow.
Between the red rails is where the mysterious noise is coming from, and as it turns out, this is from a mistake in a recent redesign of the bridge. The new rails were mistakenly spaced apart just enough to let the wind come screeching through at an unbearable volume. It happened in June of 2020, and as of the time of this video, I was unable to find any evidence that it's been fixed. Okay, this video is bizarre and just plain really weird. A kid on YouTube named Nature the Bee is making a random video about his cat. Little did he know that he caught a mysterious figure on camera.
And that's the end of the first trailer. I hope you've enjoyed.
Creeping around the house is a strange, ghostly apparition. It was not part of the skit he was doing at all and really has no place being there. Plus the way it looks from behind the corner is beyond creepy. You can see some more scary stuff when you zoom in, like a freaky frowning face that the uploader thinks could be a ghost or a demon sighting caught on video. I think this video could be edited, but if not, then I'd say his house is definitely haunted by something paranormal. While in Jamaica, YouTuber Kalani Ghost Hunter woke up with the feeling that someone was watching him, so he decided to test this feeling.
Anybody there? Can you make one of the lights flash? Oh, what the no way.
I think that's a clear yes.
Is anybody there? Can you make one of the lights flash? Oh.
Some say the ghosts in Jamaica are particularly cruel and dangerous. If I were Kalani, I'd watch my back. After multiple nights of getting no sleep and experiencing a deep sense of dread, this person sets up multiple cameras to record exactly what happens to them at night. When they check out the cameras the next day, they find this strange encounter. A faint shadow appears to linger above them for a moment before fading away. It has an unnatural shape and almost seems to reach out at them. This video could be fake because this person was sleeping with their lights on, which is strange. But then again, maybe they were just trying to make sure there was plenty of light to catch the ghost on video. Some people have even suggested that this person was having an out-of-body experience during REM sleep. A YouTuber named Rata Negra Mago is positive that his house is haunted, and he claims to have the evidence to back it up. The kid's toy moves across the table and I don't see a string. Then a bottle falls off the table. There are no shadows coming from the other room when it happens. No one is around. And right before it happens, this strange traveling light appears. Looks paranormal to me. 4 days later, he catches this object moving all by itself. This one I find a little harder to believe because I feel like it's definitely in their grandma's line of sight. I mean, how could you miss a bright green reflective bag doing 360s for almost a full minute is beyond me. She must have been fully absorbed in her show. I have my doubts about this one, but at the same time I don't know how they're doing it, so maybe it's real. This final video taken almost a year later is perhaps the oddest of all. This hanging ornament begins moving in place with nothing to help get it started. Yes, it's by an open window, but there's no wind. The leaves on this plant don't move, and neither does this towel hanging over a chair. And it's not the air conditioner either, because this connected red string doesn't move at all. And if you're still not convinced, take a listen. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, this phantom light reflects across the stereo glass, though to be fair, it could just be a member of the family. Is this the work of the legendary magician Hashina, published in September of 2021? This scary video is tantalizing. While I don't have the full context, the short clip shows some men sitting around a room. Some of the men are chanting. What are they trying to do? Exorcise someone of a possession? I'm not sure. But as the group sits there, a creepy shadow figure emerges from behind a door's fogged glass window. It rises, and there doesn't seem to be enough room behind the door for something to remain otherwise hidden. What's going on here? Is it some sort of ritual? Don't close your eyes, because when you wake up tonight, this thing will be waiting for you. What would you do if the downstairs lights of a supposedly empty building next door kept turning on and off? Redditor JC1 posted this video to r/ghosts, writing, "The model apartment next door to mine has a 10-minute timer on all the lights, so every time the front door is open, the lights automatically turn on. When I showed the video to the maintenance man, they said they got chills and had to go buy some salt and candles." This video shows the lights switching on and off of their own accord. Well, not altogether unexplainable, it is unnerving. Some in the comments of this video suggested faulty wiring or a bad sensor. A union electrician says this is pretty common in model houses, as they're not built well. Others get scared by something moving, which turns out to be a tree branch. But the question remains, what if someone or something is opening the front door? The maintenance men are right, it's time for some salt and candles. In January of 2018, this emergency message was broadcasted to everyone in the entire state of Hawaii.
A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill.
What's more alarming is how everyone seems to ignore the emergency directions that are instructing them to pull over. Bethany and the vehicle in front of her continued to drive, even when told by the radio to stop, although to be completely fair, they could have been on a one-lane road with nowhere safe to pull over.
If you are driving, pull safely to the side of the road and seek shelter in a building or lay on the floor. We will announce when the threat has ended.
The broadcast puts the entire island into a panic, and I feel like this live stream video summarizes everyone's reaction perfectly. The first stage is a sort of disbelief and the need to confirm it's really happening.
Oh gosh, what happened? Did you guys get that? Did you not get that? There's an emergency ballistic missile threat.
The next stage is acceptance that this is real, which leads to scrambling for a plan, even in the face of total obliteration.
Oh my god! What do we do?
And the final stage is panicking at the realization that all hope is lost, that your life is about to truly end. The urge to run somewhere, anywhere, sets in even though it's clear nothing can be done.
Babe, what do we do?
As it turns out, this broadcast was a major mistake made by staff at a military command post. There was nothing this time, but based on these videos and countless others, I don't think we would really do as well as we would like to think in the face of an actual catastrophe. With the increase in home security systems, people are able to capture the most bizarre moments on what would seem to be another ordinary day. User Prometheus6EQUJ5 made a post to the r/paranormal subreddit detailing an incident that happened to him and his daughter on Thanksgiving 2020. The two of them were in the kitchen preparing for dinner late at night when a brief moment drew their attention away from the task. Without explanation, an empty bottle on a counter a few feet behind them inexplicably tips over. No one else was nearby at the time, and no movement was picked up by the camera's recognition software. On closer inspection, the bottle topples over as if it were aggressively pushed or flicked with a finger. Both father and daughter notice it, then pause in contemplation over what happened. In the Reddit post, Prometheus explains this was the first such instance that happened, and neither him nor his wife had any relatives pass away around that time. He has made several edits to update people on the situation, which provides a backstory to the events. He explains the house is over 70 years old with various owners prior to him. He says things got strange after he heard noises coming from the attic and decided to investigate. There he found an old rocking chair made for a toddler, as well as most who had owned it in the past 20 years, and all claimed to have not owned the rocking chair. He says strange occurrences started only after he moved the rocking chair into the storm shelter. There are various incidents of spirits becoming attached to objects they held dearly to them in life. Often, moving or tossing such objects can cause distress, usually the catalyst for paranormal activity. Considering the size of the chair and the minor events which transpired, it is possible the spirit could be that of a child, harmless and only causing a mild disturbance. However, with what little information we have so far, it is difficult to tell, as a result of the positive response from viewers and the number of views it has garnered. Prometheus is considering live streaming the chair for an entire night. So far, this has not happened, but we certainly hope he does, in the hopes of further documenting the strange happenings in his home and whether or not it is related to the chair. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Altruistic Shoe 2593. He titled this video, "Strange Object Above the Sky." Let's watch.
Just saw something on top right there. What's that?
I can certainly see what he's talking about, but the question remains, what is this thing? Let me know what you think it is in the comments. The CCTV was taken at an office building at around 2:30 in the morning. It was noticed immediately by security because the camera only turns on when something moves. A shadowy mass starts at floor level, stops for a second, and then quickly scales up the wall, possibly continuing on to move through the ceiling itself, all while leaving no visible form of entry or making a sound. I don't know what object would have made this strange oval shadow take shape, and neither do the security guards. I think there's a strong chance that this is paranormal, but if not, leave me your best guess as to what this possibly could have been. Looks like zombies want to get out of bed every once in a while. Published to YouTube in October of 2011 by Underwater Ireland. This YouTuber sets out into a purportedly haunted graveyard in Ireland. The cemetery is innately creepy, with trees growing into steeple-like coverage as she enters. After exploring a bit, she sets up a camera to film overnight. What she manages to capture on film will send a chill down your spine. The gate opens in the middle of the night, no one is there. It doesn't appear to be windy. Then something flashes on the screen, it's hard to make out. As some in the comments point out, if you watch the clip in slow motion, you can see a ghostly demon face. It is quite clear if you manage to pause it at the right moment. Some say it looks like a skeletal hand, others a white orb spirit. What do you think it could be? Is this the zombie outbreak we've all been waiting for? Only one way to find out for sure. A YouTuber named Isaiah Fleming makes a YouTube video of himself cleaning his dirty room as motivation to actually get the job done and over with. During the course of this cleaning, the television turns on by itself, which I guess could be explained by accidentally stepping on the remote or something, and the door opens by itself, which is caught on two different angles and much harder to explain. The room is looking much cleaner after 2 hours, and he takes a break to go do something else. This next part almost has to be edited because it's literally impossible. Okay, so the door opens at 11:41 at night, and this time, without showing any breaks in the timestamp, a childhood stuffed bear disappears from view. Isaiah comes back to find the television changes to one of the cameras he has just set up in the other room. It looks like he is trying to use his remote control, but it's useless. Nothing is there then. With a flash of static, the bear is somehow sitting in the chair. He can't believe what he is witnessing at first, but as he looks to the floor, slowly realizing his house is haunted, he misses this eerie figure watching him through his own screen. This spirit must have a presentation coming up. Redditor ZJOSA shares this video, which they say happened to a close friend while working late.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas desde allá de la esquina. Mira. Desde hace rato estaba escuchando que se mueven. No mames.
The chair spins on its own. Many in the comments are skeptical and wonder why the woman started recording in the first place, but the Redditor has an answer for it.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas desde allá de la esquina. Mira. Desde hace rato estaba escuchando que se mueven las cosas, en serio. No mames.
Many others say her fearful reaction seems legit. I don't want to dismiss this too quickly because I agree that her reaction seems real. I'm going to reserve judgment on this one. Which side are you on here? What if you fell asleep only to awaken to find a venomous snake slithering in the sleeve cuff of your shirt? That's what happened to the relative of a patient in a government hospital in India. The man was napping on the floor when a green venomous snake slithered inside his shirt. When a member of the hospital staff noticed the movements in the man's shirt, they called a local wildlife rescue society for assistance. Personnel from the center arrived and managed to remove the snake from the man's kurta, which is a loose collarless shirt in India. Surprisingly, they did not awaken the snake during its removal, and undoubtedly, that man certainly thinks twice now before catching some Z's on the floor. If you suffer from arachnophobia, you definitely would want to keep your lights on for this one. What at first looks like your ordinary everyday bramble of twigs amidst some rocks is not what it seems. With a stick, Connor Long, the video's creator, disturbs the nest, the many legs of which start to move. Published in July of 2011, Long came upon this daddy longlegs nest near Santa Barbara in Los Padres National Forest. Long notes that research into this clustering behavior came up short, as it isn't understood why they do this, whether it's for mating or moisture conservation during the hot summer months or some other reason. Whatever the basis for this behavior, one thing's for sure, don't step on this bramble, or you may just pass away of fear. When YouTuber Connor from The Explorer returns to the abandoned House of Nightmares, he realizes he's not alone. He approaches the home at around 2 a.m. and as he approaches this room, he's in for it.
The trailer of the film. Hello? Hello?
Is someone there? After legging it out of there, he pauses to catch his breath.
What's going on? What the
And shortly after, he hears a strange noise.
I'm literally gonna have to just go down there. If there's someone here, then this place is horrible.
He has to go back in order to leave the house, and that's when this happens.
Holy oh my That was so...
After leaving the place, he re-enters but doesn't find anyone. What I want to know is how. How did he have the guts to re-enter this clearly haunted place? Just how? When a jinn comes to play, it's generally gloves off. Published by Hassan Barbar in June of 2021. This scary video was filmed inside a not-so-abandoned building. The building alone is frightening, but when Hassan arrives at this room, it becomes more so. The jinn starts throwing things around, and when he enters, he gets pipes thrown at him. Things are being flung at all angles, so Hassan retreats into an adjacent room for safety, but the jinn won't let him hide out forever. It shoves something in the empty hole where a doorknob should be, and soon it bursts the door open.
Sure.
Hassan re-enters the haunted but now quiet room. As he continues around the building, the jinn gets angrier and angrier. This continues and doesn't let up. Eventually, he's had enough and goes to leave, but as he does, it appears he's pushed down the stairs by an invisible force. A lot of racket is heard afterward. It looks like a door was thrown down the stairs at him. Was this the jinn's doing? It looks like he's not playing at all. I think everyone should be staying far away from this place. Can you call forth a genie with a few words? YouTuber Barack Dogan Paranormal suggests that's what's happening here. Watch as the chanter brings a flame to life.
Allahu Ekber. Allahu Ekber.
He then puts it out with a word.
Gelebilirsin Burak kardeş.
Does this man have the power? A closer look makes me think the flame is superimposed onto the tray.
Allahu Ekber.
So is this just an editorial trick? Or are we looking at real evil magic here? It's up to you to decide. When the paranormal team Cazadores de Sombras went to investigate this ritual site, what they found was a living nightmare. As they approached the site, they find what appears to be a body levitating high above a fire pit.
Que isso aí, galera?
They later hear something in the surrounding woods.
Sai, mano. Os caras vindo. Os caras gritando, velho. Os caras gritando lá.
Now, back in the safety of their vehicle, they're left to ponder what their eyes saw. Without context, it's difficult to know what's going on here. Is this person being levitated by some dark magic? And for what purpose? I can't provide any insight on this one, but I do know that I'm super creeped out by the events here. You don't want to hear this whisper at the Whispers Estate. The YouTube channel Crossing Art Paranormal was visiting the haunted Indiana estate when this happened. The angry EVP sounds like it's saying, "Get out." But the team doesn't listen. This is the end of the clip, so I don't know for certain if they'll live to regret it. All I know for sure is I'm going to stay far away from this haunted estate. Tyler Rowe works in a grocery store with a freezer that he and all of his coworkers are sure is haunted. First, it starts with these strange noises, almost like someone is trying to kick their way out. The kicking noises grow more intense until finally, at 9:02 a.m., this always happens without fail.
Here comes.
This time, Tyler is determined to get to the bottom of it. He bravely marches in and documents that absolutely nobody is inside the freezer. Watch this part and let me know if you can see anyone, because I didn't.
Is there a light in here? And there's nothing in here. There's nothing, nobody, anything. It's just open.
I can't help but suspect that a past employee somehow got locked in the freezer one morning and did not make it. Now they are trapped in spirit, kicking the door much like they did in their final hours on Earth. If someone can give me a mechanical explanation of why the door would burst open by itself at 9 in the morning every day, I would believe otherwise. Friends explore a park in North Hollywood after hearing reports of a maniac approaching random people. Soon they grow bored and decide to try to test the visual range of their night vision camera for fun. He tells his friend to keep moving back until she is barely visible.
It's on night vision. Okay. How's this? Keep going.
Soon she is little more than an outline of a black silhouette against the night sky. When she is a good distance away, something that's been watching them the entire time snatches her into the shadows.
Just stop playing around. This is not funny.
If this video is real, then whatever grabs her possesses impossible strength and speed. It picks her up off her feet like she weighs nothing at all, which makes me wonder how big this creature is and how it manages to move so fast without any sound. Ready for some peekaboo with a little more boo? Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Leo Creations. This Redditor's video was allegedly filmed at an abandoned house. The footage shows a man exiting his house at around 3 in the morning. According to a digital clock on the wall, dogs are barking outside. He zooms in on a row of houses on the opposite end of a gated area. For a moment, everything is quiet, ordinary, until it isn't.
Entonces, a ver qué pasa. Se ve todo muy tranquilo, la verdad. No se ve nada anormal. Mija, se asomó alguien. Se está asomando alguien en la escuela.
A creepy dark figure peeks out from around the corner of a white house. You can see its head vividly, peeking out before pulling back. He does this twice like he's playing an evil game of peekaboo. What is this creature? And do you want to play? This mini golf course is haunted by so many golfers who didn't win their round. Published to YouTube by Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration in April of 2021. Joe, Rob, and Kate are up for a course in fear as they explore this abandoned mini golf in the middle of a lightning storm. The whole thing kicks off with nothing but whispers. In the beginning, as they explore a room that's been torn apart, you can hear this whispering in the background. As they continue to explore, there's another voice that sounds like it says, "That's creepy," as they come across a stuffed teddy bear. Joe notes that the teddy bear wasn't here when he last visited the place. As they move glass off the teddy a short while later, 2 distinct knocks are heard. Despite this, they continue exploring. At this point, in a darkened room, 2 lights shine clearly above Joe's head, but these could either be a passing vehicle's headlights shining through a window, or they might be from one of the crew's devices. At the same time, it sounds like a faint voice is heard.
Either road noise, or somebody potentially walking around out there, and I think subtle whispers.
As Joe is talking, a short while later, something or someone is heard speaking over him.
Necrophonic app, I'm gonna turn.
The voice is loud but muddled, and the crew seems to have heard it coming from outside the room. They decide to explore the ceiling air shaft. For a moment, you can hear weird laughter.
Who's up there?
Later, while filming inside the same air shaft, a distinct boom is heard which causes Kate to let out a terrifying scream. This, of course, scares the entire crew. Later, whispers are heard in the air shaft again. Then they film up inside the air shaft. This is when you can hear a muffled female voice. It sounds like it's saying move on back shortly after. Another knocking sound. The crew believes there's a spirit up in the air shaft. They are listening deeply, and at this point it sounds like a woman singing, but they don't appear to hear her on sight. YouTuber Stella Gomez also notes that the sun ray has been moved against the wall at the end of the video. It wasn't there to begin with, so unless the crew moved it, then who did? Being as they usually don't disturb anything, its movement is all the more disturbing. Is the lady in the air shaft toying around with them? This Colombian video from 2008 is apparently the last footage taken by 4 men that disappeared, found inside an abandoned car. The footage shows the men driving towards a strange person dressed in all white, possibly a wedding dress.
Arranca. No, despacio, hágale despacio. Esa mierda, huevón, hágale despacio.
They slowly approach the person and attempt to drive around them, and that's where the video ends. What happens next is a complete mystery, since this was the only footage found. Skeptics have been unable to debunk this video or find the whereabouts of the disappeared men that were mentioned. It appears whoever was standing on the road that night will remain a mystery. Okay, so a YouTuber named Shadowbreak wants to know if he's caught a ghost on his home security system or if it was something else. His dog is staring at something in the distance when the door opens by itself only a little bit. No one is touching the door, but it kind of looks like it's being held open. 10 seconds after the door opens, the dog's ears go up. It seems to follow something through the yard, almost like somebody walked out the door and passed the dog. After staying open for almost 20 seconds, the door suddenly pops open even more for no reason at all. The owners finally take notice and look out, startled, wondering what this could be. It doesn't seem like the wind because nothing else in the video is getting blown around. I can't think of what else besides the wind would make a door open like that, except perhaps a ghost. YouTuber Lomar Mendez and his team are spending the night in the Hinsdale house, and they may just need an exorcism now. As they begin, one of the crew appears to have the gift.
He's doing like a wire.
Yeah, it's charging.
He's bringing EMF to EMF.
That's that dude.
With his old body.
That's awesome. I knew this was a bad idea.
He continues to touch the globe, and the REM pod goes crazy.
I've never seen that before. And you can put force right through that too.
In the cellar, they start feeling the temperature shift as they communicate through a spirit app.
Well, I guess they agree with me, huh?
I guess so.
The accuracy on that.
I think they just don't like it down here.
While one of the crew is performing the Estes method, a demonic voice growls what some in the comments are saying is the word
out. Let's go.
The weird thing is that no one seems to notice or be disturbed by it. I get the chills just watching this video. I can't imagine what it actually feels like to be inside the Hinsdale house and then to hear this. Yep, I'd be gone. Dating back to the 15th century, Skatecliff Hall is a haunted hotel in the UK. The YouTube team, Ghosts on Trent, enters the historic hall to test the waters, and they shouldn't have. Well, we can expect some paranormal activity on an investigation. Here's something scary we don't expect.
I'm hearing a few little squeaks, different squeaks. Oh! Right.
In these old buildings, it's actually surprising we don't see this type of thing more often.
Stay still. Stay still. Stay still. Right, time to go. Stay still.
Luckily, Paul was not badly hurt, but it could have been much worse. As the team says, this experience has forever changed how they approach abandoned buildings. This thirsty ghost is gonna drink your Coke. A YouTuber was telling a story to his viewers when the real story was going on behind him. Watch the soda can over his shoulder.
But it's definitely something creepy, so let's go ahead and zoom in on this jank. But this guy was the type of guy. Alright, there you have.
While the YouTuber thinks the soda could have been pulled by his camera cord, I think there might be another logical explanation.
But there's only one cord, and it's my camera cord. And you know, I thought maybe my camera cord, my webcam cord might have pulled it.
My thoughts are that condensation formed beneath the soda can, causing it to move across the slick surface of the desk. So what do you think? A thirsty ghost or science? I'm still wondering if it was condensation. Douglas Daniel has caught two scary moments on camera. One is pretty obvious while the other is for the most observant eye, so don't blink.
Here goes home!
A rock slide bangs a barrier open before this guy even has a chance to take their hands out of his pockets to protect himself. And if that was one of the smaller rocks, think about what any of the larger ones would have done to him. He isn't the only lucky person in this video. A rock climber is right next to the action when the rocks let loose. I wonder if something they did caused this to happen. If so, I can only imagine how bad they would have felt if somebody got hurt because of their mistake. Abdullah Al-Anbari is followed by what he describes as a ghoul when he explores an old neighborhood that was abandoned long ago. His stalker appears to be a silhouette, even under a high-powered light that brightens everything around it.
Bismillah.
It could be someone wearing long flowing robes, or it could be a shadow person. Maybe it's just me, but the ghoul looks much bigger here at 5 minutes and 54 seconds when he sees it again. When it pokes around the corner at 8 minutes and 3 seconds, it seems much larger than the average sized person. Even from down this long hill, you can see this figure is indeed tall and strong looking too, as it lumbers ahead. It looks like the creature is going to follow him all the way home, if he lets it, so Abdullah recites a phrase, at which point the ghoul recoils from the sacred words, or perhaps more realistically, ducks under the window and is not seen again. Was this all planned, or did a phantom really spontaneously follow him? This tunnel in Blue Ash, Ohio, is steeped in local lore, and none of it is good. Apparently, a cult once used this maze of sewer passages to hold all sorts of rituals and sacrifices. This makes a YouTuber named The Fam want to explore the area with his friends, though now I'm sure he wishes he hadn't. Everything starts out fine at first, but soon the Fam claims to feel more and more sick as he draws closer to the infamous altar room, which is where most of the sacrifices were supposedly made. Something makes him have a panic attack, and he claims to have felt ill for a long time after making this video. It's impossible to tell if he really is being affected by spirits, or if he simply contracts a sickness from being in the sewer, or if it's his nerves getting the better of him. I'll let you decide for yourself. Here's a clip of him at the beginning of the video.
Alright guys, I'm gonna keep on going. I gotta see if we can find this altar room. I'm not looking forward to finding it, really.
Feeling normal. And here's his reaction after discovering the sacrificial altar room.
I'm having a panic attack. You're having I did a couple minutes ago.
Do you think he really is getting sick from being in the presence of pure evil? Can a person passing away stop the clocks? This video posted by LMonkA7X to the Ghosts subreddit calls that into question. Monk explains in the comments that his partner was working the night shift at the hospital when a patient passed at 3:11 a.m. Porters arrived to transport the body around 45 minutes later. Not long after, a nurse was logging the passing in the computer when she observed a clock's hand spinning rapidly. The passing was logged into the computer at 4:10 a.m. and a minute later the clock stopped spinning at 4:11 a.m. exactly an hour after the man's passing. While Monk admits to ordinarily being a skeptic, his partner's reaction to what happened, as well as everyone else's in the ward, convinced him that this was no practical joke, this was real. All who paid witness to the odd timing were shaken up over it. Being that the clock is analog and not digital, Monk suggests it's strange that the clock stopped on the exact right time of day after going berserk. He also believes that the whole thing was paranormal, being that the clock's actions coincided with the passing of the patient and the processes surrounding it. What do you think? Coincidence or not? The people of Reddit are on both sides of the fence. Either way, the timing couldn't have been creepier. Isn't it awful when the paranormal ruins your 15-minute break? Published by LD Praja in October of 2018. Mysterious activity in a factory in Sukabumi, Indonesia, had one worker running for the hills. The video shows a young man preparing something in the break room. Behind him, a piece of clothing hanging on a cabinet door starts moving on its own. He must have caught it out of the corner of his eye because he looks over for a moment, but by that time it's still. Next, the chair behind him starts inching backward and around. The clothing starts moving again as well, but the guy doesn't notice. That is, until the chair is thrown backward and clatters on the ground. The man runs off, never to return again. This next video, made to raise awareness, is supposed to replicate voices in your head. Among the many visual and audio delusions is one in particular that really gets to me. A girl with no eyes who appears at random. The girl with no eyes is apparently very common and reported by many. The following scene is an example of how she usually comes to them, or rather for them.
She is here.
Nowhere is safe from the girl with no eyes, because once she is in your mind, there's nowhere to hide. This is what it's supposed to be like when she finds you. No one knows why so many people have reported seeing the exact same figure. Maybe it's a subconscious manifestation of a common fear we all have. Or maybe it's some type of possession that's driving people to madness. If this video is just a simulation, then I can only imagine how terrifying the real thing must be face to face. A lot of scary ghost sightings involve a doorway or a window. They always seem to be haunting a passageway leading into the house. At 31 seconds, a pale apparition leans in to peek through the doorway of this building. Then the mysterious figure is gone, disappeared. I couldn't find anything to explain what was moving in the door. The ghost hunter later explains, after doing some more research, he says this haunted place is home to voices of children laughing and playing, stories that further creep him out. This building was a funeral home before the haunted place was abandoned. The cameraman is too scared to get near the haunted place, let alone go exploring, but a possible long-distance ghost sighting leaves him freaked out. I agree, there is something in the doorway. Whether it's a ghost or not is hard to say from here, but something is there and that's pretty weird. What you are hearing is the heavy breathing of a man who took the lives of 14 people. This message was left on the answering machine of one of his targets during the 70s. It's clear that he's trying to instill as much fear as possible before his next strike. He wants the person and the community at large to know what's going to happen to all of them, and he savors their fear. The message is so over the top that I think most people would have had a hard time believing it was real. But if you ever receive a message like this one, remember that there are people out there who are not fooling around and will hold themselves to their word. A YouTuber named brhenry16 is deep in a Southern California mine when he sees a pale light off in the distance. The light doesn't have the intense brightness of modern electronics. Instead, it looks dim and swings at waist level, kind of like an old lantern would have. brhenry16 is sure that this is the spirit of a cave miner, and I would have to agree. Let me know if you think the same, or if you believe this portion of the video was staged. Two friends are riding down the Kerala highway in India when they see what they later agree has to have been a ghost of some kind. The figure is dressed in pure white and holding something, maybe a flashlight. Creepiest of all is how they seem to be deeply staring into the darkness at something. They are in such a deep state of concentration that they don't even look up when the car zooms by just a few feet away. They remain frozen in place and seem to be holding their face in surprise. If this is a ghost, then they could have been looking at the roadside remains of their own body. While camping out at this haunted castle, a rustling is heard in the forest. Published by Exploring with Fighters, this YouTuber is exploring the abandoned ruins of Liverpool Castle. Being hundreds of years old, these castle ruins are bound to be haunted, and they're about to give the explorer a taste of fear. As he tries to sleep, his dog is alerted to a rustling sound outside their tent.
She's doing her goose impressions. She started doing her goose impressions because there's a weird noise coming towards us.
Noting that an owl has kept him up all night, the explorer was wide awake already, and even more so when the mysterious noise seems to be coming toward them.
An owl has kept me awake most of the night.
While the suspense builds, nothing reveals itself, leaving us to wonder what was lurking outside the explorer's tent. Was it man or beast, or something else? I am looking for more information about this scary video because I could not find the brave ghost hunter who caught all of this paranormal evidence on camera. This house has a dangerous jinn inside, a spirit bent on scaring the ghost hunter away.
أعوذ بكلمات بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنه من سليمان.
The door seems too far away for him to be opening it with his foot.
من شر ما خلق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Later, a bucket on the floor mysteriously moves all by itself seconds later, and when he looks up, this shadow figure is caught in the light of his camera, and when he turns around, nothing is there, but the carpet flutters as if a stampede is coming through. I don't see how they are faking this part, so I am inclined to believe this might be real paranormal activity caught on tape. A YouTuber named The Modern Mombi is sipping her coffee while pumping gas while she notices someone watching her get into her car. She lets it slide until she sees him looking at her again.
But yeah, he keeps peeping us.
She is making a video probably in the hopes that it will make him too ashamed to continue, but he looks straight at her and seems to smirk. It's a weird and creepy expression that he has no excuse to keep making if they are strangers. Maybe he thinks he recognizes her, but if that were the case, staring at her instead of saying hello is rude and suspicious to say the least. Then again, maybe the camera is the only thing keeping him from being more intrusive. He eventually gets in the car and drives away. That's when she realizes she's in her work uniform and hopes he won't be staring at her sometime soon at her job. Green Gables is the name of a fine dining restaurant in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. The 100-year-old building is said to be haunted to the point where one worker would start recording with their phone whenever they felt something was wrong, and one night they were right.
And I don't know, something doesn't feel right about this place. Like it's I can't even describe what it feels like right now. Like this is just, what is that? Nope, 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 nope.
A shadowy hand definitely just extended across the waist of the statue in my opinion. It doesn't look like a trick of the light or anything like that. These creepy situations are exactly what this century-old haunted estate is known for, so I think it's real. Oh, and one more thing that's weird. Shortly before noping out of there, the employee notices a deep slice across the length of its stone throat. Is this another paranormal sign, or just normal wear and tear? A YouTube channel called Dark Haunts Videos travels to the famous haunted train tracks in San Antonio, Texas, where a school bus full of children were said to have lost their lives. The road looks like it's on a small hill here according to him. Do you agree?
Okay. But it looks like it's uphill. Cars in neutral and off. We are slowly moving.
If the local legend is true, ghost children are pushing them up a road and straight past the very same tracks that they themselves were not able to cross over alive. Somebody needs to measure this road to see if they are really being pushed uphill. If they are, then this is amazing. It is really creepy though how the car stops all by itself within seconds of going over the tracks. A gigantic streak of lightning in Paducah, Kentucky was so large that it was caught by two different police dash cams. The first police car was far away, and its dash cam footage shows just how long this massive lightning bolt was, and the second police car was much closer.
If you could go back through it. Well, two reasons. One, it would be.
The lightning bolt directly hit a nearby residence. Fortunately, everyone inside was alright, but this particular officer will never forget how close he came to being charred alive. Fisherman's Chronicles gets a catch while kayaking in the San Francisco Bay, but you'll never guess what he's caught on camera, or rather, what's caught him.
Oh my, that's a fish on. That's a fish on. Oh my, this is a big fish on. I got a big fish on. Oh, this is a halibut. It's for sure a keeper.
He thinks he's hooked a halibut, but it's much worse than that. A stingray. Its whipping tail is like a serrated needle that will mess you up in seconds flat. He has to get the hook out of its mouth fast while avoiding the tail.
Wow, got a good view of that. This guy's trying to sting me.
Nothing new for him. He's caught hundreds of them before, but I guess everyone can make a mistake. The tail connects and a barbed wire feeling races up his arm. Now he has to get the hook out with the ray in his lap, and he's lucky it doesn't take a chunk out of his thigh here at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. They do have razor sharp teeth. He gets to a hospital as fast as he can, and this is the end result.
Well, I had to row like half a mile back to the kayak launch with a stingray tail like sticking out of my arm.
It's healed up nicely since, and he doesn't have any nerve damage to speak of, but it's not something I would ever want to go through, and I hope he never does again. He's lucky it wasn't higher up and nicked an artery. Also, I just wanted to commend him for not getting angry at the stingray for defending itself. He focuses on getting the hook out of the stingray first before getting help for himself.
I still want to release this guy as fast as possible.
I think everyone's first instinct is to throw it back into the water, so this must have taken an incredible amount of self-restraint. Nothing is more terrifying than surveillance footage of an event, especially one that ends human life. This video footage shows 3 suspects involved in a double life-taking in South Ogden, Utah. Surveillance footage surrounding the scene of the event captured 2 suspects peering through the home's windows and later a masked man fleeing the scene. All 3 suspects were wearing hard plastic masks. According to several news articles documenting the event, police believe the incident was not random, but targeted, and that the suspects were familiar with both the people in their home. South Ogden Police Chief Darren Park noted that while reports of a loud party had been made to police, he asked any witnesses to come forward and said in a statement that he hoped the families of the people will gain some closure. Multiple surveillance cameras caught the suspects scoping out the home. One suspect was wearing a mask, while the 2 others wore opaque plastic masks as they approached. One camera showed a suspect crouched down, watching the home for a while, after which the second suspect and later the third joined in. A second camera caught them peering into the home's windows. Following the event, one of the men was seen on a third camera hopping over a fence. As of the latest update found online, dated March 2019 by ABC4, the double life-taking remains unsolved. More has been pieced together of the night's events, including the fact that 3 of the Van Komen brothers lived in the home, while the unfortunate older neighbor, Kevin Nelson, had just dropped by when the event occurred. Once 2 of the Van Komen brothers left to pick up some food, leaving just one and one other roommate inside, the stranger seized the opportunity to enter. The brothers were gone for no more than 10 minutes, and when they returned, they found Kyle passed away on the floor. Van Komen's mother, Renee Finch, said of the footage, "I think that it's creepy that they're out there watching," adding later, "We're very thankful we didn't lose all 3 of our boys that night." Nelson's nephew, Ralph Nelson Jr., also said of his uncle that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, a feeling echoed by Finch, who doesn't know why her son might be targeted. There was no clear motive for the double life-taking, which is likely why the trail remains cold today, despite over 70 people being questioned over the past 3 years. Unsolved mysteries are inherently terrifying, and the coldness of this case compounds that fear. No need to write a Yelp review. Just chuck your plate off the table. YouTube channel Behind a Side shares this footage of a poltergeist having a cuppa. Keep an eye on the table in the forefront. Chairs scrape away from the table, and a napkin falls to the floor. But then things get aggressive. This poltergeist is sending back his dinner. Here it is again, close up. The activity appears to happen in sequence. I think the small movements are too jarring to be the air conditioning turning on, or some other explainable disturbance, and the more extreme ones, like the chair moving and the plate flying off the table, are clearly paranormal in my opinion. What goes up must come down. Posted by V. Fieldson on TikTok, as Fieldson walks beside a house, capturing a bicycle lying in the middle of the sidewalk. He pulls the shot upright, catching the roof of the house in frame. Someone is up there watching him. The watcher appears to be filming him too. At least he seems to be holding something with a light on. He rushes from view, and darkness envelopes him. Of course, this is TikTok, so that's where the clip ends. However, as we know, what goes up must come down. After all, he's gotta come down from that rooftop eventually. Who's sitting in this chair? YouTuber Mods Gaming captured a ghost of rocking on camera. Watch the rocking chair. I think the chair rocks too purposefully and for too long to have been knocked before starting to record. I also don't see any fishing line or something else that could debunk this. It looks to me like someone is sitting in the chair, actively rocking it back and forth. My guess is it's grandma, come back to visit. Gather around this haunted and abandoned cabin in the woods. It has some ghost stories to tell. Debbie from YouTube channel, Spectral Researchers, Spirit Talkers, shares this video of their investigation of this mysterious place. Using a Kinect device, Debbie greets her first specters.
I really would love... Oh, hello there. Hello, two of you. Well, hi. Very pleased to meet you. My name is Debbie. Please excuse my intrusion in your home.
The figures remain visible for several minutes.
I don't mean any harm. I just want to talk to you and let you know that you're not forgotten.
One of the figures comes and goes. The little one seems to be doing flips or something. It's all over the place.
Hello. Can you tell me what year you moved into this house?
Then they both leave, but one is coaxed back.
I saw you come back then. What were you growing in that shed? Was that you growing something?
In no other room in the house does Debbie capture any figures on the Kinect. It seems to me that they congregate here for some reason. If I had to guess, I think it's either where they passed away or is their favorite spot in the cabin. It's 10 at night when a sphere of light travels across the living room of a YouTuber named Play With Me. Moments later, this spectral figure emerges from the same area where the light last went off to. Its see-through body is especially visible against the dark hardwood floor as it crosses the room and walks straight through the door without opening it. There's no doubt that this is the sphere of a person, but is this editing or a real ghost is the real question. A strange creature sighting in Russia on a store camera is about as creepy and mysterious as it gets. Two people are standing outside late at night, and all of a sudden one of them is dumped on the ground. You can see something invade his space. At 12 seconds, just before he falls, the other man tries to help but is of little use. Whatever has a hold on his friend is too strong, and so he runs back into the store. At 21 seconds, something briefly appears to hover over the poor man. A strange creature with little shape, perhaps paranormal, and he is pulled off camera. After 10 seconds, it looks like the creature has left, and so the second man goes to check on his friend. At 42 seconds, something invisible splashes a puddle in front of him, and his friend is flung through the entrance. Low quality CCTV videos are pretty easy to edit, so this video might be a fake. What do you think? Bejewel TV claims to have recently made contact with the supernatural world during a live stream taken at a haunted graveyard in Indonesia. He lights some incense and then weird things are caught on camera with absolutely no wind blowing.
Allah Akbar.
40 seconds later is when it happens. Paranormal contact.
Ya, ini dia. Halo. Halo. Dia diam aja. Mbak.
I would say this has to be special effects except for one thing. These scary moments were caught on live stream with a live chat that was amazed at the ghost sighting. Even with that said, I still think this video could have been pre-recorded because he never seems to directly address what the chat has to say, nor does he call anybody by their screen name, all of which indicates this video might not be live. The ghost doesn't say anything to him. At 15 minutes and 58 seconds, it reaches out to him shortly before disappearing back to wherever it came from. This could simply be a digital image of somebody superimposed over the video, but I'll wait to see what you have to say before making my final decision on this one. If you think you're safe in your own home, think again. Posted by Call Me Ace here to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains, this is a video of a random guy walking up to my brother's home in Houston, Texas. The stranger flashed their flashlight through my brother's front door window and camera. The video shows a man possibly casing the place. If that is what he's doing, he isn't taking many precautions, as he's not wearing a mask of any kind to hide his identity, nor does he take any notice at first of the security camera that's caught him red-handed. If he was trying to fly under the radar, he's doing a terrible job at it. Not only does he flash a flashlight directly into the potential target's home, but he looks squarely into the security camera, capturing his headshot straight on, right before shining the flashlight into the camera's face too. Redditor Stark Burrito asks, was he pointing the flashlight into the camera to obscure himself? Bit late, buddy. Other Redditors recommended that the homeowner alert other neighbors to the incident, as well as the neighborhood watch and local authorities. It might prevent the unknown person from taking this further. While you may not have to worry about those you know entering into your home, you should definitely worry about randos. Jonathan FOD and his friends go exploring an abandoned meat processing facility building that everyone in town says is haunted, but the air quotes around ghost seems to mean he doesn't quite believe it.
So supposedly, there's a ghost that roams around here.
Soon he will.
Oh shit. That.
Hey!
Who's here?
As Jonathan FOD and his two friends are ghost hunting in some kind of tool shed, they get what they think could be some paranormal evidence caught on tape.
What the? Bro, y'all heard that? Bro, what the fuck is that? Bro. Is anybody there?
All three of them are on camera when these noises happen. You can see they are just standing there with their hands down, so it can't be them. Maybe Jonathan had a fourth person making all of that noise, but I don't see how they could have faked that ghost EVP at 8 minutes and 50 seconds. It really does sound like the muffled voice of a small child.
What the? Bro, y'all heard that? Bro, what the fuck is that?
This poltergeist activity is insane, perhaps literally. Captured at a haunted asylum, TikToker Louis D Vlog shares this video of a poltergeist encounter. It starts with a scare.
I told you this yesterday.
What was that?
And the fear grows with this EVP.
Throw that chair! No. Is there a chair? There's a chair there, bro. Hey, the EVP says, throw that chair.
A second EVP makes things far spookier.
Oh my no! Somebody in the children's ward right now. Yeah. Someone's been significant.
Are children causing mayhem here? They seem to respond to the team's demands.
Oh, dude, slam that door right now.
Whoa!
I'm not sure if children's spirits would be this angry, but whether young or old, the aggression is clear. YouTuber Hey Charmaine began posting about her experiences in her home. As her story unfolds, so does a terrifying truth shared by YouTube channel The Gravedigger. This scary video shows how Charmaine's horror story escalated. It all started with this strange object she found.
I got a pack of Pepperdine like 10 years ago, but it's modeled after the Bodhidharma, and I don't usually take it out.
After setting up security cameras in her room, she captured things moving unexpectedly. A few days later, while the dog was sitting for her friend, this happened.
Why are you whining, baby? What are you staring at? Dude. There's nothing in the hallway.
Later, she captured a figure watching her home in the darkness of night and then heard something inside. After deciding to go stay at her parents' house for a while, things escalated. Watch the doorway behind Charmaine.
They've been really nice enough to like let me stay there and
What was that thing?
oh my god.
I'm not sure what this figure is, but it seems to be related to the mysterious object that Charmaine found. With all these strange events unfolding, Charmaine has lasted a lot longer here than I would have. A YouTuber named AG is playing with her phone on the floor when her CCTV system records a bizarre and possibly paranormal display behind her. The strangely shaped phantom consists of little more than 2 arms and a head. The face is simply a single eye in the middle, almost like it's looking at her from the side. The video itself looks a little pixelated, so I guess this could be special effects, or maybe even the brief reflection of something against the wall, though of what I cannot say. Stranger still is how, out of everywhere else in the room, it appears directly behind her, almost like it's self-aware in choosing to do so. Paranormal Lone Star thinks they've spotted some strange activity while exploring the basement of the old Stanford Inn in Stanford, Texas. Down here is where an entity named Ernest is said to haunt. First, they find his saw.
Looks like I had a saw right there.
Oh wow, that's
the
creepy.
rest. That's the rest on the...
Then they find Ernest, or so it seems.
Not liking this room.
The saw is no doubt real because there is still a nail where it used to hang on the wall, but as for Ernest the ghost sighting, I'm not so sure. You can hear the paranormal investigators in the room, so it wasn't them, but it could have been a third person dressed in black pretending to be a real ghost caught on camera. Dr. Lost Syndrome published this video in May of 2014 writing, a little short video where Maskey gets some payback for the taggers ruining his hideout. The video follows a pair of teenagers in what looks to be an abandoned building in the wilderness. The building is full of graffiti, and one of the lads starts spraying some more over top of it. That's when they hear this strange noise. The first time they hear it, they brush it off. The second time, they start to wonder what's up. The camera is passed off to the dude while the girl continues spraying in the room. The man heads outside looking around the area and shouting hello. Hello? When there's no response, the two pass off the camera again and then again as the girl goes to check if there's anyone out there while the man continues spray painting. After painting a bit, the man scans the graffiti in the room. That's when he arrives at the door to find Maskey outlined in the doorway. The masked man charges him and knocks him to the ground. It appears the man is knocked out cold. What is unclear is what Maskey did with his body. Maskey's revenge is certainly not something you would want to think about as you fall asleep at night. And trust me on that one. Jay Duncan is at home with his wife and daughter. When he looks out his door and sees a total stranger in rough shape, the man is having a fast-paced conversation with no one but himself, and he can't hold still for a single second.
He's just out there, man. He just won't go away.
When he finally notices Jay a full minute later, his first move is to immediately try the door. I can only imagine what this intruder would have done next had he gotten inside. Instead, he throws his hands up in exasperation, as if they have no right to keep their front door locked. He barks a series of threats and demands to be let in. I think he basically says he's through playing games with them, whatever that means. They snicker at him through the door until he gives up and gets into a relatively upscale truck to leave. Obviously, if he has a truck, then he also has a warm place to stay, which makes me wonder why he wanted to get into Jay Duncan's home to begin with. I think that maybe this person might have been out of their minds and thought they were outside of their own home. If so, I really hope they don't come back when Jay Duncan is asleep at night and try the same again. While exploring the Broken Bow Asylum alone, YouTuber Haunt Row TV captures this creepy message on the wall. And then they hear a spirit's voice. Listen closely. Although the voice is faint, I do hear it. The other noises are much louder and without explanation. What do you think is here? I think it's a trapped soul. This video captures a total stranger on a bridge waving hello to rush hour traffic in a full clown outfit. A stranger waving to no one in particular is creepy enough, but take a look at its arm. Maybe it's just the angle, but the arm seems way too long and thin to belong to any person. Slow it down at the 15-second mark, and you can see the forearm alone looks to be the same length as a normal person's entire arm. You expect to come across witches at night, but in the broad light of day, somehow that's even scarier. Published in July of 2019, this video purports to show a witch spotted in Mexican ruins. A man is shown exploring the ruins. Little does he know, over his left shoulder, at a short distance glides the shadow of a witch. At first the men are oblivious, but as they turn around and walk back towards the entrance, the figure appears again. This time not lurking in the shadows, but rather in the light of day. The men are aware of its presence this time. And as they start to exclaim, the witch takes flight, up and away, hopefully as far away as humanly possible. The video is certainly blurry, which makes determining what this figure actually is quite difficult. A man named Dubai7 talks to himself while returning to the home he was chased out of to get some supplies. He is trying to grab this container when he is found and cornered. The door slams behind him and he runs away. As he is looking into the room he just escaped from, a different door slams shut. And no one is inside the room when he checks. On his way out, he sees what I assume is his old cat watching him. The poor animal is too afraid to come near. It jumps away moments before something unseen chases him out the door. Now outside, he looks over just in time to see the window shutters open and close by themselves way too deliberately to be caused by the wind. Anyone who lives in this house is told by local villagers to leave it. YouTube channel 01 Supernatural Studio writes, "It is said that nothing happened to this house itself, but for some reason, after the original owner moved out, he could not rent it, and in the end it was left to be abandoned here. Let's see why." Upon entering, he finds an N95 mask hanging from a hanger.
然后这里竟然还亮着一个 N95 的口罩。
The house is abandoned, but the reason why is not yet clear.
这样子，你们多少都知道，这个屋子某方面听起来就好像有问题，对不对？然后你看，还有这个合适。
In another room, he finds children's bicycles and a grain dryer.
真的啊，那脚踏车。 哇，干燥机耶！这个是以前晒谷物用的吗？
And in a corner, a rice threshing machine.
啊，对了，那个干燥机应该是谷物用的，这是打稻机吧？好。
He gets an EMF reading on the second floor.
磁场，2楼的磁场比刚刚1楼还要来得乱哈，这也是。 意料之中的事情，
He asks for the spirits of the place to show some energy, and they respond.
灵体的存在呢，若有的话，请给我一些能量上的反应好吗？有。
This room on the second floor is in complete disarray.
这个地方因为有这个棉被，所以说我不太想踩过去，因为我前一阵子才被跳蚤咬。但桌上还有那种红色的拜神用的蜡烛然后床。
Suddenly, the light on his camera goes out.
怎么回事？我的灯怎么突然熄掉了？只有非常红外线热显像也可以看。我灯自己突然熄掉了。
He asks a series of questions and receives immediate responses.
刚刚关机了，不好意思。那我再想请教一下，他某方面来讲，是不是被你们牵走了呢？
He seems to have gotten the answers he was looking for. This place does look disturbing to me, but does that mean it's haunted? It seems you have to be there to know for sure. A YouTuber named A. Marie says that she encountered a little ghost girl in the hallway of this haunted hotel in Oregon, and this eerie video taken late at night is her paranormal evidence. She's exploring the haunted hotel when she captures strange shadow movements on camera. I thought it was probably her own reflection in the window, but some people are saying that the angles don't match up and that this shadow has a different source, so maybe they're right.
Is there anybody with me? Is there any spirits with me?
Marie turns around only to capture a mysterious white light floating across the hallway. A little ghost girl wearing a dress according to some, but most likely a lens flare from the bright lights overhead. But here's the really creepy part. When she turns down the hall where the ghost last went, something scary is waiting for her. The creepy EVP sounds like a disembodied voice saying the word go, as in get out of this hall. I can only imagine that the legendary little ghost girl is turning around and saying this because she doesn't like to be followed by ghost hunters, and it might be best to heed her haunting words. When the paranormal comes after you, do you stick around for more? Published by Han Cardisler, that's what this group did. And they weren't disappointed. As the paranormal crew is searching an abandoned school, they find something frightening inside. They're in one room examining things when a sound is heard from the other end of the room. A moment later, a large beam of wood is shoved off a table to the floor. They cross the room, closer to the action. And as they're talking, another large piece of wood comes flying at one of them from the door. Still, they remain in the room, as though nothing happened.
Oy! Sana mı vurdu lan o?
Are these guys crazy? Or are they unfazed because they're so used to this stuff? Whatever the case, they'd best run. The Phantom is getting more aggressive by the minute. It is said that evil resides here. This paranormal explorer is about to greet it. Ricky Velasquez seems to sense this reputed evil early on. He then senses this hiding under a bench. While outside the structure, he hears a hushed whining or whimpering. Shortly after, he hears what sounds like a bottle being kicked. Back inside, he senses something in his presence again, and then on an upper floor, this unexplained sound. Is evil still lingering? Ricky isn't the only one who can feel it. Mr. Fitry is exploring the haunted PLKN building, a youth program in Malaysia that's said to be haunted ever since a mysterious case of mass food sickness led to the abandonment of the whole program. He's caught some creepy moments 17 minutes into the live stream when someone donates.
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, subhanallah, subhanallah, Allah Akbar! Astaghfirullah.
His camera freezes and the image whitens as something passes by.
Allah Akbar! Akbar! Ya Allah, subhanallah, subhanallah, ya Allah. Allah Akbar, bergerak sini.
The only time his camera seems to freeze is when paranormal activity is happening in front of him.
Allah Akbar! Wais! Allah Akbar, apa benda tu? Ya Allah! Wais!
He runs into the room it was literally just in and the ghost is gone. There's no jump cut editing and this was on live stream, so the figure should have still been there if it was a person. He stands outside of the window to see if it will return.
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, subhanallah, subhanallah. Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, wais! Allah Akbar! Wai gila sial!
The figure is in the next room. Now is the chance for a paranormal encounter up close.
Ya Allah, Tuhanku. Hati aku.
By the time he gets back, he needs to lay down and think about what he just saw. Apparently, being surrounded by that much paranormal energy has drained all of his. According to NASA, the Apollo 20 spaceship never left the ground due to a lack of funding. This leaked video, however, says otherwise. Apparently, the mission was covered up after this strange structure was found on the surface of the moon. The leaked video is now referenced to as a moon base. Look closely and you'll see what appears to be an entrance ramp leading directly into the structure itself. It almost looks like some kind of vehicle is halfway up. Let me know if you see the supposed entrance, and if you think that there is any possibility that this leaked video could be real. I think it is kind of a stretch, but I do see what they are talking about. The Rolling Hills Asylum in East Bethany, New York is weird, really weird. So weird that it's classified as a paranormal research center now for ghost hunters. Liam Neville is exploring the haunted asylum when something strange and maybe paranormal catches his attention. This is what he's caught on camera and what's been haunting his memories ever since.
Yeah, there's definitely somebody down here. There's a light coming from that. Unless there's a light down there. Whoa. Yo.
Played in slow motion. And you'll see that his flashlight is off when they see the mysterious light in the hall. Liam and his friend are simultaneously frozen in place with fear and ecstatic.
I saw a figure at the end of the hallway.
So did I. Oh
wow.
My.
I definitely saw that.
Yo, you saw that?
Yeah.
They claim to see a shadow figure in the hallway, and I think I might see it 59 seconds into the video. What do you think?
Yo.
This YouTuber is exploring a scary abandoned place in India when their adventure goes wrong at 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
நம்ம ஓபன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க டைம்ல நம்ம விக்கி கிட்ட கேட்போம். விக்கி வாங்க.
It looks like a real ghost sighting at first, but somebody walks right in front of a light, so that could be what's making the shadow figure appear. Still, it's bizarre enough to make them leave, and when they look back, they see a ghost in the window. The light passes by the window one time, doubles back, and there it is, another ghost sighting. Look again though, and you'll see it was actually standing in the window the entire time. This could be a shadow person, a djinn, or one of their friends wearing a cloak. They claim it was a ghost, but I'm not sure. YouTuber Gregor Wilk braves one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin in this spooky video. One of the most interesting finds he has there is this strange orb flickering in the darkness. Watch closely. In another shot, he captures a ghostly apparition. Watch to the left amongst the trees. Here's a closer look. Some in the comments say they've had a similar experience at Sanitarium Hill. Well, from this distance, I'd say you can't really tell if this is a ghost or not. This was filmed at around 2 a.m., so the idea that someone was out walking in the darkness of night is pretty creepy in and of itself. Bonding with nature takes on a whole new meaning when creepy stuff like this happens.
It's extremely rare to see a bat anywhere. Oh my god.
No, just grab it.
It's eating the
A midday hike turns terrifying when a bat snuggles up in mom's hair. Anderton Explorer caught the entire creature sighting on camera. Now they have to figure out how to get it untangled. Snapping their fingers to scare it off is a good idea, but the bat doesn't seem to care much. It spreads its wings, turns around, and marches towards her face. The mom is getting really scared, and who wouldn't be when a bat is about ready to crawl up next to your ear? They have to save her. Would you be brave enough to do the same?
Will you hold still? God.
The bat is off of her, but it stays near all their possessions. It's dazed, not moving at all, and then suddenly it flies up in her daughter's face and almost gets in her hair next. Something almost has to be wrong with it. This isn't normal behavior at all. Think about it. A nocturnal creature sighting in broad daylight is a bad sign. An animal that is normally afraid of humans landing directly on one is even worse. The bat might have had rabies. If so, it was probably trying to get at her, but couldn't find its way through her hair. So with that in mind, this video becomes even scarier when you realize it could have been unknowingly poking for nearly 3 minutes straight at a bat that could potentially have rabies. The whole family was treating it like a joke, when in reality they could have gotten a serious case. In their defense, they do say in the comments that they saw the bat fly back into its cave, though how exactly that makes it any less likely to have rabies or not is something I don't understand. It's 3 a.m. and therefore time for two brothers to test their bravery down in the basement, which they are pretty sure is haunted. They spend about a minute down there and start hearing noises from the back of the room. The brothers quickly agree that this noise sounds like a single human footstep in the darkness, and I would have to concur.
That. Yo, do you see
Dude.
it?
Instead of running away, the two brothers decide to directly confront the creature, or spirit, or whatever it is that's down there with them, and the timing of its reply shows that it understands them completely.
If there's anyone here with us, please make a sign. Get out.
The two brothers were hoping to last the night, but they hardly make it down there 5 minutes. Every sound they hear comes closer than the one before, until this final sound comes from directly behind them as they leave.
I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm scared. Oh my. Okay, alright. Bye, guys.
You can see the younger brother is right next to him, and he doesn't do anything to cause the sound. So unless there's a third person with them, I think this video is absolutely real. We've all been warned never to pick up hitchhikers, but that advice especially goes for paranormal ones. This dash cam footage was posted in July of 2019. The dash cam's clock shows that the clip was taken around 2 in the morning. If you blink, you'll miss it, so pay careful attention. Driving down a dark and empty highway, the car is traveling at a fairly fast speed when, off to its right, in the empty lane, appears a figure. Some say it has its thumb out for a ride. Do you see it? Is it a ghost? Or is it just a regular person with a bad wish? After all, who hails a ride in the middle of the road during the darkness of night? Only someone who's looking to get run over, or at least doesn't mind testing fate, whether ghost or real boy. This isn't something you want to see while driving down a dark road at 2 a.m. It might very well send you into a terrified tailspin, making you the next ghost on the highway. This video was taken one summer on Vancouver Island in Canada. A YouTuber named Mushmaster is on a hike when he sees a huge humanoid creature that he still can't explain to this day over 10 years later. According to Mushmaster, the creature was 7 feet tall and stood on its hind legs to stare at him, but by the time he started recording, it was already hunched over and taking off. At first I thought it was a bear, but look closer and you can almost make out the upper body of a human, especially the shoulders. It looks far more human than a bear judging from the way it walks away. In the end, the creature chooses to leave Mushmaster alone in the woods, wondering what he had just encountered. Let me know what you think it was based on the brief video that I've shown you. No one has been able to solve this in over a decade. It's unusual for ghosts to appear in broad daylight, but apparently this one likes to play games. Published by Ganjam's Pride in October of 2017, a female ghost was caught on camera at the top of this tree. You can see the figure of the purported ghost perched on the branch. It's frozen still there, unmoving, and it's not clear why. YouTubers in the comments have their opinions, while some think it has a logical explanation, like an inflatable doll caught in a tree. Others are 100% convinced this is a ghost. I suppose either might haunt you. This man approaches a home, stands in place for 10 seconds without ringing or knocking, and then decides to rip the doorbell cam straight out of the wall for good measure. Notice how he pulls up his sleeves over his hands before doing so. Obviously, he is worried about leaving fingerprints, so he probably does stuff like this all of the time. My guess is that he wanted to get into the house when he noticed the doorbell cam and got scared. He probably thought that by taking the doorbell cam, he would get rid of any evidence that he was ever there, completely unaware that a live video gets sent straight to the person's phone automatically. This video was posted in November of 2018. So far, he has not been caught, but since the doorbell cams have a serial number, he can't resell it easily without getting busted. What would you do if you ran into a massive python in the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. What would you do if your daughter's imaginary friend was a demon? Originally posted by TikToker Leo Lords 15, this video was shared by YouTube channel blah blah and is now trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. The TikToker explains that her daughter has been communicating with someone ever since they moved into this old house.
Hey, so we are just moving in. Literally, it's such a mess. I'm sorry, but my daughter has been talking to an imaginary friend.
After letting it run, this is what she found.
This looks beautiful and funny. What are you guys doing? Do you want to play?
While talking with her stuffed animals and or her imaginary friend, the closet door opens on its own. A strange growling noise is heard. The girl seems to hear it too and takes it as her cue to leave. Imaginary friends will always be creepy, but I'm not sold on the growling noises. It sounds like it's edited in. In fact, it sounds less like growling and more like someone drinking from a straw. What do you think? Is this girl's imaginary friend a demonic creature, or is this a sound effect? A tropical storm has passed through here, and aside from causing a messy yard, this family seems to have been largely spared from the bad weather, or so they think. Luckily, everyone is alright, and fortunately, the tree didn't go through their house. So if you live near the woods and have a serious storm pass through, remember, this scary CCTV video is exactly why you wait until it's dry before going outside. Diane thinks she has caught a ghost on video crossing her living room around 3 a.m. The ghost is a woman with long hair whose back is turned. For months, Diane has been feeling something paranormal in her house, and if you look closely, you'll see her cat Noah wake up and look to where the ghost of a weird woman just walked by. There are no other paranormal videos on Diane's channel at all. The rest is 3 years of content about a niche hobby that has nothing to do with the spirit world, which makes me think it could be a real paranormal incident. With that said, I found another video that shows she roughly has the same hair length as the woman who says she was a ghost, so I'm on the fence with this one. When searching for ghosts in a haunted house abandoned in the jungle, be prepared to skip a step. This video, posted to YouTube by Pratik Paul in July of 2015, purports to show a real ghost girl in Matharan, India. The beautiful stone building in this clip is surrounded by foliage inside and out. The guide informs his audience about the house. According to him, it's one of the oldest houses in Matharan, built during an era when the East India Company ruled in India. A general in the East India Company lived here with his family, including his wife and kin. Although the general was a generous man, during the time of the revolution, the house was lit on fire by rebel villagers. The colonel and his family could not escape. Within 30 minutes, the house was up in flames. Some say you can hear the sound of footsteps within the haunted house, and it's a general rule that no one should enter after 5 p.m. The crew is here at 5:30, hoping to capture on camera the ghosts that are said to haunt the place. After feeling unsettled by something, the camera whirls around and cries out that something is there. You can't see anything in the thick surrounding foliage. Although the cameraman states he saw a shadow, the other guy notes that it's just a cat, man. But then again, he says something feels wrong. The cameraman zooms in on a window opposite, and a figure with black hair can be seen there. One of the men says they heard a sound. That's when they decide to book it out of there, and fast.
What's that? Sound, guys, I heard a sound right now. Okay, let's leave. Let's leave.
Well, some are quick to call fake on this one. YouTuber Science Classes is a little more relenting, writing, "If it's true, then I too want to see that spirit. Do you too? Count me in as well." A YouTube channel called Adventure with Hodge goes on an urban exploration of an abandoned factory, and it turns out to be one of the scariest places he has ever explored. Something feels wrong with the creepy location from the very start, and they begin to wonder if this place is really abandoned after all.
Eerie, not gonna lie.
The basement feels downright spooky with only one flashlight between them. The urban explorers are too scared to venture far, especially when they discover a creepy message spelling out their fate.
You're in his home. Wonderful. I don't like that at all.
We just decided to go back in the basement. We just heard something.
That was loud.
On the basement floor is another haunting discovery in the form of an abandoned jacket. Why would someone leave their jacket down here? Hodge wonders. I personally couldn't help but notice it's kid-sized, and this is certainly no place for a child. Someone scary must have taken them to this horrible location. Someone twisted and deranged. The two friends are beyond creeped out, but at the same time curious enough to go exploring past the creepy warning on the wall. Bad decision.
It's time to go. Time to go.
Okay, we're gone. We're gone. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the darkness, a heavy object falls over, and the loud, scary noise they capture on tape makes them cry out in surprise and run away while apologizing. This part deserves a closer analysis because it's scary stuff indeed. They are exploring the middle of the basement, nothing within arm's reach, when an unseen object either crashes or is thrown to the ground. Hodge is holding the camera, and you can see his friend's elbow right before the scary noise is caught on video, so he's standing too close. Whatever caused this unexplained event can't be them. Plus, listen to how he later describes this creepy encounter caught on tape.
Majority of the video, we were exploring the basement of this abandoned factory. We kept hearing noises, felt like something was following us, and lo and behold, something followed us and we were chased out the basement.
I see no signs that he's lying, no deceit in his eyes, only enthusiasm at the thought of having a scary and maybe even paranormal encounter caught on tape, so I believe this creepy video is as real as he says. A YouTuber named Waffle Vlogs records a strange man standing outside his apartment home. According to Waffle Vlogs, this uninvited guest stood at his front door and then started walking the parking lot for a long time.
What's he doing out there?
He stares out at nothing for a while and eventually walks back to his car, which is a relief, but still doesn't explain what he was doing there to begin with. Waffle Vlog seems just as confused as we are about what just happened to him. He thinks that he might have been getting his house cased out. I have no reason not to believe him. Do you? Unless you're touring abandoned asylums or reputably haunted sites, you probably wouldn't expect to capture anything mysterious on camera, but this individual did just that. This video has been making the rounds all over the internet, and we tracked it down to its original source. Published to YouTube in January of 2019, JJPD Producciones writes, Mr. Luis Reyes was traveling to Nicaragua for the first time. He went on a tour of tourist areas of the country, specifically to the Tizcapa viewpoint. He recorded the landscape, but did not expect to capture what you will see next. What you see looks like a giant crab insect or alien-like creature, maybe all three combined. The creature is standing on a rooftop, then it walks to the edge and jumps over to a courtyard, out of sight. While many congratulate the uploader on the special effects, some are willing to suspend their disbelief, but upon further investigation, it appears this channel specializes in special effects. So my explanation for this video is that while it's quite scary, it's most likely CGI. Check your door, there might be someone hiding just around the corner. TikToker Do You Believe 2 shares this video of what looks like a figure lurking right outside their front door. On the other side of the frosted window panes, someone or something appears to be crouched down. Even the dogs are on high alert, and then it just disappears.
What the f***? Too scared to open my door.
Watch that again. The way it dissipates is beyond creepy. It doesn't look to me like the figure moved out of the way, but rather like it melted. Many in the comments are as perplexed as I am.
What the f***?
I have no idea what this thing is. My only advice would be, do not open that door. You don't want to give that thing an opening. When a YouTuber named Blake Smith's Gaming Blitz claims to have been hearing paranormal sounds from his basement, his followers suggest that he leaves a camera downstairs and record what happens. He takes their advice, and this is what his phone supposedly picks up. The video goes on like that for over a minute, but he comes back and gets his phone. If this video is fake, then I personally don't know where he got these effects from. It doesn't sound like any movie I've seen or any game I've ever played. If you recognize the sounds from somewhere, or if you think this is real, then I definitely want to get your opinion. Here's another video from the same channel so you can hear it some more.
Hello?
In Toy Story, the toys come to life in a charming manner when the kids are away, but when it happens in this video, it's more chilling than charming. Originally posted to TikTok by Oscar Furlan, the video shows a Woody doll standing upright on the kitchen counter with one hand on a can. Noticing that a human person has entered, the doll glances over at him before dropping his hand, going stiff like a board, and falling over backwards into the kitchen sink. Although it truly does look eerily real, some claim it's an animation, while Redditor Anna Cabana says the dolls are designed to fall over in this manner when hearing the phrase, "Someone's coming." Regardless of whether it's an animation or the toy's design, I think we can all agree with Mythical Gamer 9 who writes, it looks a bit too real, still very creepy, definitely not a toy on my wish list. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by SufficientFly3271, this Redditor wrote, "Can you feature this in one of your videos? My name is Brittany Keel. I live in Richmond, Vermont, and I hear these noises almost every night/morning. Finally got it on video, always around 2:30 in the morning. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Anarchy881 writes, Dogman maybe? While Dusty Stories wrote, don't know what we're supposed to be hearing besides tree frogs and birds, but whatever it was, my dog was very interested in what it was saying. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments. Located in Philadelphia, Fort Mifflin is known for its role in the Revolutionary and Civil Wars, and considering this history, it's also said to be haunted. YouTuber Katrina Weidman and her team head there to investigate. Using a photon camera built by Zach, who's an electrical engineer, the team captures movement and sounds inside the fort. This occurred in the Powder magazine. The team says no one was near the place at the time this was captured. A little later, Zach is running a thermal camera outside where he captures this.
I just heard a scream. I don't think that was the girls. I don't know if this is recording audio, but I just heard a scream.
When the team is later all together again, they get a spark on the Tesla coil.
Hey, can you touch that Tesla coil? Or the thing that's making some noise in the middle of the room? Sparking again.
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't know if I see it, but I hear it.
Was this where you stayed during solitary confinement?
To me, this seems like solid evidence to suggest that Fort Mifflin is indeed haunted, and it sounds to me like a former prisoner here continues to live out his afterlife in solitary confinement. This security footage will make you forego your chores. TikToker Little and Large 13 was retrieving her laundry from the line when this happened. Watch the crack in the fence. A skull-white face peers into her backyard. Although that's some creepy CGI in my opinion, it does kind of look like a harmless panda to me. Nevertheless, if I saw this in my backyard, I'd be nothing short of terrified. One door shuts, another opens. YouTuber Just Paranormal published this video in March of 2018. One of the dudes in the video says this paranormal footage was filmed in his home. This shot was directed at him in the darkness, and over his shoulder behind him, a door slowly swings closed on its own. They were renovating the bathroom, which is where the door closed. The man explains that the house was once owned by his mother-in-law, although they don't know whether or not anyone passed away in the home. His sister-in-law dabbled in witchcraft in high school, and as the boys note, you never know what you're getting yourself into with that stuff, and this may have contributed to the strange happenings occurring within the home. At the time, he's been documenting all the events occurring in his home, and when he heard footsteps, he started filming. This is why he was able to capture the door closing on video. He then runs over to the door, opening it to find no one there. There's no fishing line on the doorknob. To cover all the bases, he explores his home the next day to see if air vents could explain the door closing. Nothing natural seems to explain this event. Could it be supernatural? What do you think? Donnie regularly sees what he thinks is a shadow person in his home. It's always in the basement, always coming from the corner of his eye, and always going way too fast to be a normal person. He can feel its anger downstairs, and he knows that it wants to do him harm. Donnie decides to put music on blast to see what kind of reaction he can get on camera. After 20 minutes, this shadow can take no more and races upstairs, causing these lights to move. Soon the same angry feeling returns, and Donnie knows that it's back. He starts recording down a dark hall, and these bottles move on their own.
You're not welcome here.
You and I both heard them fall, but no one else is around to knock them over. At least nobody that I could see, and just around the corner are the stairs leading down to the dark, cold basement. After setting up a still camera and a spirit box in this haunted apartment's kitchen, Other Side Research captured something unsettling. Watch the left side of the screen. Was that a shadow figure? Let's see it again.
Here you can clearly see something captured in the top left of the screen. It appears just after the spirit box seems to say the word demon. After going over this piece of footage multiple times, none of us can decide what this may have been.
It doesn't look like the usual suspect, an insect, but could it be someone off screen casting this shadow? Without seeing what's going on behind the scenes, I'm hesitant to decide on this one. What would you do if you saw this happening in your home? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Raymond Powell. Raymond writes, "Not proof, but it definitely freaked me out. Looking for advice. A screwdriver sitting on the counter is moving on its own with no one and nothing near it to cause such behavior. Raymond runs over to the cupboard, opening it to see if there's anything under the counter that might trigger it. He turns up nothing. Picking up the screwdriver, he looks around his home. When he starts hearing random pounding coming from above, he gets his step stool to open the hatch above his attic. He calls out a greeting, but catches nothing up there on camera. While some in the comments were waiting for a jump scare, others, like Redditor Everything is Dumb 0624, were trying to find answers. You either got a ghost or a person living in your crawl space, he writes. I'm not sure which one would be worse. A YouTuber named SE Styles is camping in the woods of Hinton, Canada, when he hears the last thing that anyone wants to hear just outside of their tent. A lone wolf's howl pierces through their conversation and renders both SE Styles and his friend silent as night sets in. They soon realize they are vastly outnumbered. If anyone watching this happens to be an animal wildlife expert, I'd like to know if these wolves were howling because they were aware of the human presence nearby, or if this was for some other reason. Perhaps this was a warning to SE Styles not to come any closer, although I'm sure he and his friend did not need any extra convincing. This creepy night witch has never once left her shack, published by Kisa Weba in November of 2021. This scary video has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The video's creator, Luan Mendez, and his paranormal team to investigate this home in which a number of strange and unexplainable events have occurred. What they found will give you chills. The crew is in the yard, which is packed with a bunch of rusty junk piled up. A loud banging is heard somewhere in the vicinity. But they don't capture its source on the first camera. A second camera captures the same banging from a different angle, but again the source is unknown. A figure is caught in the beam of the cameraman's flashlight when he turns around after running away from the noise, but it's unclear if the figure is just another crew member or some other entity. But a few bangs in the night is nothing. This is just the beginning. Later, the crew searches the junk around the shed and inside the home, Far from off, they see a figure in one of the old wooden houses. They panic but continue to draw closer, trying to get a better look at the apparition. The figure looks like an older woman with black hair and a pale face. A close-up reveals she is sitting in a chair, wearing a gray dress. Some think this might be the infamous Weeping Woman, known as La Llorona, or perhaps she's another ghostly incarnation specific to this place. We need to know the history to be sure. What exactly happened here? Only then will we know the fate of this ghostly figure. A terrible demon has set up shop in this house, and Dennis from Dark Ghost Paranormal is about to face its wrath. The demon first makes its presence known in the wardrobe. With his nerves on edge, Dennis asks the demon to reveal himself.
Ответь мне, кто ты?
Then things get real creepy. Moments later, the demon's face appears on Dennis's camera, after which this happens. The demon has definitely been released, and if I were Dennis, I'd be careful. It seems like this one means business. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee is one of the most haunted hospitals on Earth. So much so that it's been officially designated as a paranormal research center on Google. Almost everyone that goes there has a paranormal experience. Take a YouTube channel called Lost Souls Paranormal for example. One of the few research teams brave enough to go exploring the haunted hospital's basement. An investigator named Bailey splits from the group, and this is what he records underground. Running footsteps are coming from all directions, and are possibly even in the same room that he is. Suddenly, the idea of ghost hunting isn't as fun as it was 5 minutes ago, and so he doesn't go any further. This is enough paranormal evidence to convince me, but let me know if you think it was his friends making the noise. Years prior, another paranormal investigator named L.W. Drums was close to the same spot of the hospital and experienced strange ghost activity as well.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us.
The voice of somebody who isn't there mocks the investigator with an exaggerated sigh, and a shadow appears at around this time too.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us. Something just touched my head. Ooh.
Something jabs him from behind. When he turns around, the mysterious camera goes out of focus like something is right up on the lens, and I don't know if this is a third member of the team, but at 29 seconds a mysterious figure is definitely just sitting on the other side of the room staring at them. Xbox Kinect is probably the last thing that you would ever expect to use to capture a ghost, but that's what Keith Weldon apparently did on his channel called Weldon Paranormal. This ghost hunter received a call to investigate paranormal activity at an antique store in Rocklin, California, so he packed up his equipment and headed over. The owner of this shop believed that a spirit was attached to an antique piece of furniture. To find the ghost, they used a Kinect camera that's hooked up to a laptop using special ghost hunting software. The software uses the Kinect's motion sensing capabilities to detect and map out any invisible forms in the room. Nothing is happening at first, so after a while, they decide to play old music that's from the same time period as the haunted furniture. Sure enough, they capture a ghost apparently dancing behind them.
And then it has that figure over there and it looks like it's dancing again. Do you like the music? Like literally like got rhythm and like...
Oh yeah.
When they turn the music off, they try to interact with the ghost some more.
She's shying away. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's holding your hand.
If this footage is real, then it could be the first time a true human-to-ghost interaction has ever been recorded. I don't understand the technology behind this equipment, so I can't say if it's real or fake, but if you're a ghost hunting expert and can verify this footage, then please let me know. This jinn is leading us into the fiery depths below. YouTuber Hassan Barbar encounters this terrifying jinn in an abandoned hut, and he believes it's here to trap him. At first, it seems to be hiding from him. It stands guard behind the wall. But then it lets out this terrifying sound. This is the creepiest game I've ever seen in my life. When Hassan goes to look for him, the creature has disappeared.
أنا كنت أصور فيه بس فجأة ما لقيتوش. بسم الله.
Where did the jinn go? I'm not sure, but I'd bet my life that we shouldn't follow. This church is apparently haunted. YouTube team Signs and Signals returned to an abandoned church that's haunted them since one of their first paranormal investigations. First, they head to the cemetery to recall where they saw this.
And yep, right over there.
Went straight to that bush.
It looks like an extra large bat, maybe a vampire mid-transformation. As they're checking around the bush, they hear something come from the church.
Well, people were saying it was going in the bush. We checked it plenty of times. Dale?
That was...
You know what that means.
100% in the church.
They approach and peer in through a window.
I swear.
Door. I heard the door. The door.
Dude, I swear to God, I just heard the door do something, like something knocked on the door.
Something is in there, but they have yet to see it. When they near the door, they find it open.
You better come on around from there. Come on. And...
Once inside, the creepy feeling escalates.
I already feel like I'm like being stared at everywhere I look. How long?
As long as it takes.
As Dale is talking about the last experience he had here, a light behind him flickers.
I started feeling all weird and like hot and everything and started getting all mad and stuff.
But behind you, Dale. Behind you. Light. It's not the same one.
Is this real? It's not that light.
It's not the same one.
When they approach the spirit, it makes its presence known.
You'll knock a book over. Did you hear that?
I thought that was you.
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They investigate further, then they capture this.
Oh my.
Dale.
Please tell me you got that.
I did.
You got that?
I did.
There's something in this church, and they don't want this paranormal team trespassing. Not at all.
Cool and pretty clear, and it's so. Oh my! Oh my!
Dale, see, I told you. It's the piano. It's the piano, dude. Oh my.
In my opinion, it's time for them to leave this place, especially after they managed to photograph this. That terrifying shadow sends the coldest of chills down my spine. Without a doubt, this place appears haunted to me. This unexplained shadow was uploaded by a paranormal ghost hunter named K. Owen. I think it could just be a fast-moving insect, especially since this was recorded on a summer night in the South, but according to K, this is the spirit of a poltergeist in Kentucky who eventually went on to become quite destructive. If Kay's story is to be believed, then this unexplained shadow is the spirit of a person who took a woman's life in this camper years ago. The deranged paranormal entity would eventually go on to destroy the camper by burning it down just 2 weeks into the paranormal investigation. Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods, off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? Will you expect to find some creepy stuff in an abandoned funeral home? Abandoned remains are probably not among the usual suspects. Published to YouTube by RNK All Day in March of 2020, the channel writes, "We found ashes inside an abandoned funeral home that was condemned due to the funeral director leaving and hiding bodies. It was located in North Carolina. It was closed down in 2012 after client complaints. The funeral home's former owner was put behind bars for not burying the individuals." RNK All Day explores this home and its unnerving history. Amongst the creepy things found inside are Polaroids of the passed on individuals and a squatter's bed made up inside the building. But of course, the most unsettling thing they encountered was a bag of ashes in a torn cardboard box. According to a timestamp on the box, they were from 1995, meaning they've remained there for over 2 decades. Let's hope they finally received a proper burial. While investigating this haunted school, Moxley's paranormal world gets schooled by spirits. As Moxley explores this upper room, several unexplained sounds occur.
You blow it and it'll pull any energies that are here, any spirits. Somebody was at the door then.
Then one of the crew senses the front door moving.
That door's moving. That door's moving. There's a f***ing door out there. Where? Out there, green one. Oh,
Someone just grabbed it off. What you did?
They don't find anyone outside, but later things escalate as one crew member feels like she got smacked in the nose.
Not really it.
Yeah. Alright. You bleeding as well?
What's happened?
Yeah, you're bleeding.
I felt like my nose just got hit. Not hit hard, but hit a bit. You're bleeding. You're bleeding.
Is the ghost of a mischievous pupil sticking around this haunted school? I think they might be, and they're certainly keeping the school spirit alive. The G-Team paranormal investigators are at it again, returning to the highly paranormal medical center. The paranormal activity that occurs in this video is sure to scare you silly. Published to YouTube in April of 2020, the team writes, "We chose this place due to the amount of paranormal activity we always get here, and lo and behold, they were waiting for us. Hold on to your hats, because this one's a wild ride. Patty leads the pack, and the paranormal activity that occurs in the center is off to the races from the get-go." As the crew is doing their intro, something in the next room falls to the floor.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What was that? When they go to investigate, they claim that as soon as they walked into the room, it grew extremely cold. Jody screams, saying he felt like something touched him. He said something got his neck, and Patty points out that a cord hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room is moving. Throughout the entire video, there are odd noises here and there. Sometimes they're subtle, other times they're distinct.
You said doctor?
That was crazy.
Around 10 minutes 25 seconds, Jody is trying to communicate with the presence in the medical center, asking it to tap 3 times.
When that came out,
You hear that?
Although it does not comply, a shadow falls across the room, and another loud bang is heard in the next room.
oh God.
All this frightening activity begs the question, what kind of medical procedures went on here? The justice system in Brazil is notoriously overcrowded. As such, CCTV ghost footage like this sighting is not that uncommon. The CCTV ghost goes into a small courtyard and climbs the wall to see over the heads of people who aren't even there. After a bit of scouting, it goes back inside. This simple routine was probably repeated hundreds of times throughout the course of this passed away individual's time behind bars, and so it seems reasonable that it would continue to do so in the afterlife as well. A spirit sadly locked away forever. Chris Hopkins goes exploring a haunted mental asylum close to 3 a.m. called Forest Haven. As the name implies, they have to cut through a forest on foot to get there, and that's when their troubles begin.
That was somebody.
Yeah. We're walking down the trail. We just heard someone right over there.
Chris turns on his flashlight and soon sees a mysterious light in return. They play flashlight tag for a while until they discover a group of other people who, while friendly, claim to be ghost hunters on a quote-unquote another mission.
Yo, we just met up with these guys.
Hey.
Yo, these were some of the guys we were in here.
Actual ghost hunters, but we're on another mission right now.
They don't think much of the comment and join together to go exploring the abandoned mental hospital. As they get to talking, the strangers kneel down and show what their special mission really is: to take copper from wires and sell it for money. That's when it occurs to them that they are around some shady people in an abandoned building who have sharp instruments and are looking for valuable equipment, like their expensive cameras. Thinking fast, Chris walks back to get his friends.
Dude, come out here and listen to all these birds. Listen to all these birds.
They don't say a word and awkwardly walk away, which is the right choice. Who knows what would have happened to them if they stayed around? While investigating the haunted Bel Air house, Sunny finds that the stories are true. Sunny's experience there gets off to a rocky start. The crew starts to sense things and hear things.
Oh my.
What?
Oh man, Sonny was coming up.
You cheating? Why you got your light on?
I was trying to come down the steps.
You got your light on too. Y'all up here like a bunch of just turn your light off.
My light is off now. Okay.
And then footsteps.
Came over here. Listen. Sounded like footsteps, but I think maybe picking up Kristen's.
But do they belong to his crew? Or is someone unseen closer than he thinks? Either way, I think it's time to find the exit of this place. Multiple cameras capture a UFO hovering over Jerusalem in 2011. The small moving ball of light glides over the building tops for a while, and then does a dazzling aerial maneuver that no human aircraft could ever possibly replicate. I would think this is CGI, but the same event was reportedly witnessed by numerous people who don't know each other. In this second video, you can see the ball of light is over the same domed building as the before and abruptly flies straight up. I will admit that the UFO in the first video looks a little different than the UFO in the second video, but I think the first video was recorded with a digital camera and the second was recorded with a cell phone from almost a decade ago, so that would explain the visual discrepancies. In yet another CCTV video, a ghost possesses a woman at a store in China. In the video, you see a package fall on its own accord from the third shelf. It could have just been stuff there, teetering on the edge, causing it to fall at the slightest breeze. Although it doesn't appear to be teetering, that's certainly a possibility. But what's strange is it appears to move for a moment before actually taking the leap, leading a skeptical onlooker to consider that it may also be something paranormal. What happens next will make you think the same thing. A female shopper, surprised by the sound of the package falling, turns to look. Being considerate, she walks back, picks up the package, looks at it, and sets it back on the third shelf. The shopper drops the other package she's holding, as the possession seems to take complete control over her body. With one hand on the package, her head flings back and falls forward, back and forward, back and forward, as if in seizure. She manages to pry her hand from the packaging and turns her back towards it, but her body and mind are fully possessed. The demon takes control of her until another female shopper alerts staffers for help. They are seen gathered around her, trying to subdue her, but she won't be subdued. Her body seizes suddenly again, and the camera even seizes for a moment, as the three surrounding the woman are launched back by the demon's energy. We don't know what happened to the woman, whether the demon fled her body at this moment, or if it still possesses her today. A light at the far end of a room is swinging by itself when all of the other lights are as still as can be. Now, before you tell me that it's under a vent, let me show you the same room from a different angle. Look all the way to the ceiling where the fluorescent light is grounded. No vents anywhere. So what's the deal here? Am I missing something major? Or is this light swinging on its own momentum when there's nothing to make it move? Grandma, is that you? Published to YouTube by Mordecai's Captured Moments in April of 2021. Mordecai writes, "One night years ago, the chair on my friend's porch was rocking on its own. The video shows an old wooden rocking chair standing outside a pair of wooden framed glass doors. The chair begins rocking in an unusual fashion, not like it's been disturbed by a breeze or knocked by something, but as though someone is sitting in it, rocking and halting according to whim. Apparently, this isn't the only scary incident that occurred in Mordecai's friend's house. She responds to a YouTuber that her house was so deeply scary that she never let anyone know how scared she really was. Thankfully, she moved 2,000 miles away from this haunted place. All she can hope for is whoever is rocking that chair didn't follow." A YouTuber named Ariette Jane is live streaming a road trip when suddenly an unidentified creature bursts through the traffic, nearly causing a wreck.
Here we are. San Diego Freeway coming up. We are there. Awesome. Whoa! Dude! What the hell was that? He wasn't on a motorcycle.
The speeding object leaves a short trail of fire behind, almost like it has a turbocharger of some sort, yet it's going way too fast to be an ordinary vehicle. My guess is this is computer-generated special effects, but if that is the case, then I don't know how he got the cars to slow down all at once to make this shot look so realistic. Maybe there was traffic ahead or something and he edited this creature in later. Either way, Ariette Jane swears that this video is 100% real, and I'd like to know if you agree with him or not. Orange orbs is how one witness describes this unexplained video of light spotted in the sky. Posted on January 16th, 2021, the bizarre sight was caught on Snapchat video hovering over the Bronx. What looks to be a starlit sky is anything but, as these mysterious stars start shifting in one direction as a single unit. I thought I heard creepy sounds coming from the sky too, as it passes, but I think it's traffic.
Those things are orange. Look at them. Next to each other. They literally fly next to each other. They orange in color. They look like stars. Look at that. It's a triangle.
When you connect the points together, you can see he is right. The mysterious lights do seem to form a bizarre triangular shape in the sky. This observation makes me suspect that this strange sighting could be a government experiment. The outline looks like the same shape as the fabled Aurora project, but why the designers would put large visible lights on a stealth aircraft doesn't make sense, so that must not be what this is. The person recording is stunned beyond belief and turns to some strangers to talk about the encounter.
You guys know what that is? See that? Yo nunca he visto eso. Es una cosa anaranjada en triángulo. Mira cómo vuelan. No hacen sonido.
2 seconds later, the lights mysteriously change color, and one of them goes away completely. They continue hovering over a building for some time, and then the video ends before we get a chance to see if it lands or what. I'm not sure what to make of this mystery, and neither is anyone else who watched this video. Information is tight, and I couldn't find any other videos, but one person living in the Bronx says there were actually 5 points in the sky when they saw it. Another person claims to have seen the same thing 7 years ago in Virginia, but like I said, there's no video evidence besides this. The way the lights change colors makes me wonder if this is a drone. Apparently drones must have different color lights to indicate when they are changing directions according to the law, so people could be piloting them in a formation from the top of the building, or maybe we've just been visited and now they're here. Rian Silver is a paranormal explorer who searches every abandoned house that he can find in the hopes that it's haunted by a djinn for him to catch on camera. Most of his videos have absolutely nothing paranormal in them, seemingly an abandoned house with nothing in it, just 20 minutes of creeping around empty room after room, but one of his scariest videos of all is paranormal beyond belief and has left him seriously creeped out ever since. He calls it the real horror house. Here's why. A strange sensation leaves him shaking before he's even cleared the main floor. The real horror house is different from any place he's ever been before. It feels truly haunted.
La ilaha illallah. A'udhu billahi ta'amati min sharri ma khalaq.
At 2 minutes and 8 seconds, a pair of glowing eyes stares at them from the window. It's not a cat. 9 seconds later, this creature with glowing eyes is seen outside the doorway. As they are leaving the room, a faint groan is heard behind them.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
As they reach the top of the stairs, they see another shadow figure that dips into the doorway upon their approach. They pursue and the weirdness follows close behind.
Last floor tak hai main. यहाँ पे क्या है? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A'udhu bikalimatillahit tammati min sharri ma khalaq.
A sudden chill gives Rian raised goosebumps. He's showing them to the camera when all of the sudden,
मोंटे खड़े हो गए हाथ के. बिस्मिल्लाह. ऊपर से आवाज आई है.
bone-chilling laughter now fills the abandoned house. I was thinking maybe it's people playing outside, but who would be playing in the middle of the night by an abandoned house? I think it's coming from inside and very close by.
بكلمة الله التامة من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله.
Things get even more creepy when they reach the basement.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله. أعوذ بكلمة الله التامة من شر ما خلق.
Down here is where they find a single square opening to a secret hidden holding room with no way out. It looks like somebody might have been kept in this secret room for a long time. Ryun doesn't dare climb in, but who knows what they would have discovered if he did. Could something in this creepy room also be the source of whatever's haunting this abandoned building? When they record inside, this freaky EVP is what's caught on camera. A tiny voice screams up at them from within, very faint but unmistakable when you hear it. Is this the final resting place of someone who fell in and can't get out? I think that might be the case. You might want to avoid this forest because it's apparently home to brain-hungry zombies. Published by Adient in October of 2021. A man appears completely lost in the thick foliage of a forest at night. As he's walking, a terrifying noise is heard. He continues, periodically calling out to whatever awaits him in the dense trees.
Hello? Nang? Oi! Nang, sorry!
That's when he sees this.
Hey!
Something lying in the dirt crawls out, obviously to feast upon his brains. The man turns around and races out of the forest in fear. At one point, he is knocked to the ground. He looks around, whimpering in the darkness, but doesn't see anything around him. Did the zombie give up, or is he on the verge of an ambush? I Thought All Dogs Go to Heaven. Published by Awkwardly Quiet Gamers in April of 2018. This security footage shows a dark but busy sidewalk at around 2 in the morning. A woman is seen standing to the left. A dog or cat comes into view on the right, as does another lady. They both pass by in the night. That's when the ghost dog comes into frame. Unlike the last animal's starker image, this one is slightly blurred and transparent. It runs along the sidewalk and then disappears out of sight. Meanwhile, the lady is making strange moves along the sidewalk. What is going on here? Is this ghost dog playing one last game of fetch with its owner? I hope that's the case. If you thought gargoyles were only a thing of Gothic cathedrals, like Notre Dame, think again. Published by Mr. Illusion in March of 2022, this scary video purports to capture a real-life flying gargoyle. I couldn't find the origins of this mysterious video, but the footage shows chaos ensuing amongst a group of people as a monstrous creature appears in the sky overhead. The flying creature is enormous, with large, bat-like wings, a long tail, and what looks like a human head. As it flaps its wings, traveling across the sky, the people below panic. It is captured briefly one more time, flying away. Is this CGI, a real-life gargoyle, or some other demon in flight? Whatever it is, I wish it would turn back to stone. Ivan Dragunov stands at the top of the stairs, leading down to his basement, and says something in a language I can't understand. Try to translate what he says, and more importantly, tell me if you can hear a brief whisper echoing all around him. At the bottom of the stairs, something unseen fills Ivan with dread, and he can't seem to catch his breath. He tries to run, but fear overrides the signal and his feet stand still. The room is cast into a heavy silence until whatever is watching him finally moves forward. You never get to see it, but whatever was down there sounds quite large and coming from the other side of the room, so it's very unlikely that Ivan was making the noise himself. Oh, and something tells me he won't be finding the courage to change the light bulb down there for a long time. Something unsettling is going on in this haunted house. Published by Mr. Horror in February of 2022, the scary video begins with this mysterious clacking noise. The room is empty and the floor looks like it's covered in dirt or sawdust, or as some in the comments suggest, flour. The clacking continues, followed by a large banging sound. Then footsteps appear as something invisible walks across the floor. Many in the comments note how big the prints are. Others are just glad there isn't a jump scare. To what or who do you think these prints belong? For now, I think it'll remain a mystery. Cemeteries are, of course, a hotbed for paranormal activity. That's why YouTuber Dalen Spratt enters these hallowed grounds to communicate with the spirits there. In this video, he takes viewers to a graveyard in Ballinger, Texas, but before he can attempt his communication, he captures this mysterious activity on camera.
We don't do spirit box sessions with people that, just out of respect for family members, man, that are just passed. Although I would really, y'all, did that flower just fall?
Yes, it did just fall, but was it blown over by the wind? Or is this a message from the beyond? Dalen thinks it's the second option.
Y'all, I had to go back and look at that, because I'm looking through the camera, and I was like, did that? Yo, I'm stumbling on my words now. Did that bouquet of flowers just fall?
Dalen then walks over and respectfully places the bouquet upright again. Well, I am skeptical that this was a message from the departed, because it does seem like a windy day. I still have mad respect for Dalen's response. His compassion here is a great example of how to treat those who may not yet have crossed over. In a creepy abandoned place, YouTuber Alberto Del Arco captures a passing ghost on camera. First, they hear a distant scream.
¿Oíste? Como un grito de una niña. Sí, sí, ¿lo oíste? Un grito muy agudo. Muy agudo, muy agudo.
Y se escuchó,
Sí.
Then they spy this dark figure at the end of a corridor. While the figure is too far away and indistinct to definitely confirm that it's a ghost, you can see that it does move. Someone is there with them, ghost or living being. I wouldn't stick around to find out. Two men from northern Georgia are having some fun and celebrating in the forest. They begin to hear screeches coming from the wilderness surrounding them. At first, they are concerned, though they brush it off, but it soon becomes apparent that whatever is making these noises is coming closer and closer to them. Soon, a figure appears out of the darkness, who looks to be covered in red stains. They flee in the other direction, which was certainly the smart thing to do. While most think this is a humanoid creature of some kind, I think it might be a deranged person who is hiding out in the forest. What the? He probably thought these guys were too close to his hideout and gave them a big scare to make sure they never returned. What do you think of this theory? Look closer at your family photos. You might spy something alarming. Watch to the right of the kid dressed in black. Did you see that? A ghostly figure appears to run out from behind him. Is this ghost camera shy? I don't know about you, but I can't come up with an explanation for this. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. What scary story is this one telling us? You've probably caught a fish with a worm before, but have you ever caught a worm with a fish? TikToker TightLinesAUS shares this creepy video of a terrifying creature called a beach worm. Take a look. No, 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 no. New fear unlocked. Many in the comments are horrified by this thing. Personally, I'm never going to the beach again. A team of ghost hunters are inside of an abandoned home when they catch what appears to be a transparent phantasm at the top of the stairs.
Hold still for a second. Hello?
I'll admit that I did not see what they were talking about at first, but when you replay the video at half speed, it's easier to see a clear outline of a person's head and shoulders. The figure starts out facing the camera and then darts through a door on the right. I'm not sure if this is CGI or not, but let me know if you can see it, and if so, what you think it was. This one will make you scream and give you nightmares. Posted by Sermi127 in September of 2007. This YouTube video went so viral that it prompted this YouTuber to create a pantry ghost documentary. Sermi writes, "It has been 5 months since the last sighting of the ghost in my pantry. I filmed the door myself at 12:34 every night for 4 months, waiting for some paranormal activity. On September 19th, I capture what may be the first real ghost video proof. So let's take a look at this proof. The beginning of the video shows the pantry door opening of its own accord in the darkness. The man filming walks towards the door and shuts it, and as he backs away, a freaky figure presses its face and hands against the glass of the door. As he backs up, the horrifying thing disappears for some reason. He then approaches the door again, jerking it open, but there's nothing there. The contents within the pantry appear untouched. Did your hair stand on end? Did you scream? Some in the comments of this video did. This video had me afraid of what might be lurking behind the closed doors in my place. Now you see it, now you don't. A pale ghostly figure appears at the end of the darkened hallway. It seems to enter from the left. The dog clearly sees it and runs toward it. Then when the light flips on, the figure just disappears. The dog seems as surprised by this turn of events as we are. Watch it again. The figure is visibly there, there's no mistaking it. So where did it go? Although I'm not sure where the figure disappeared to, I did notice something else in the video. Watch the shadow on the floor after the light flickers on. Something clearly walks past in the other room. Is it the ghostly figure or some other monster? When you aren't sure if your imagination is playing tricks on you, post to Reddit to get another perspective. That's what this group of friends did after experiencing this strange happening. Posted by Dro to the Chills Narrators subreddit. The uploader says that while filming his friend playing guitar at his house, they heard something pound at the door.
That.
Wondering what it was, they decided to pursue it. After leaving their room, they spot something dark peeking around the corner at the end of the hallway. It darts out of sight as the boys chase after it, turning the corner and up some stairs to the open doors that leads outside. Once out there, they call after Toby, the pet dog that accompanied them, when from behind a garbage can, a ball rolls into view, thrust by a creature's arm.
Toby.
They race off back inside. The Redditor asks, is this someone that broke into the house or is it paranormal? Let's see what Reddit thinks. The lovely Raven 313 writes, either way, this video sent a spine-tingling sensation down my spine, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that house. Redditor Cheery B says, this is a terrifying situation, writing, I can't really point out that anything looks specifically paranormal, although the glowing in the middle of what looks like their head, when now they were at the top of the stairs, was interesting. Others warn the dudes to get out of there now. Paranormal or not, they should probably heed that warning either way. Redditor HD Gun posted this footage to the Ghosts subreddit. The video shows a semi-transparent figure rush past. The figure is short in stature and appears to enter from behind some plants near the home's fence. Of course, Redditors have some theories. While I'm not sure that I agree it's a parrot, I do think it's an animal. You can see there's a blur, smudge, or lens flare on the lower portion of the camera, which is probably why the figure looked blurred, but to me the figure looks like it's walking, not flying. While it could very well be paranormal, the way it's moving looks like how a monkey walks to me. So I'm thinking now there's a possibility it's a wild animal, but why would it look like this on camera? A YouTuber named Daniel Ott performs a summoning ritual that quickly comes to a close after he begins to feel weird. In doing so, he accidentally records a strange moving light while describing how bad he feels.
I don't know, my body, it just doesn't feel right now. I've just been hearing things.
It might be trails of light left by the paranormal, or it could just be light reflecting off the chandeliers as he crosses the dining room. But still, as soon as he walks into the next room, this fleeting shadow appears on the wall. It could belong to him, but the angles don't quite match up.
Alright guys, that's gonna be the end of the video. I'm not sure if I'm probably gonna make another one of these.
One of these experiences could be easily explained away, but having both of them happen back to back is almost too much of a coincidence for me to believe, especially after a summoning ritual. Ryan Prunty is certain their estate is haunted after this creepy experience in their attic happened. Let's take a look at what he and his friend caught on tape and see if it's really paranormal.
Steph, I think it's all good up here, dude. We're gonna explore a little further. No.
Bro, it's
Isn't
locked.
it funny, Bailey?
I'm not
Open
kidding,
the door,
bro.
Bailey.
It's locked.
Bailey, open the door.
Look.
What is that?
It doesn't look like the door got stuck by itself. At 11 minutes and 34 seconds, the locking mechanism has been turned into a horizontal locked position. Someone, either a ghost or one of their roommates, must have been on the other side. They force open the door, and less than a minute later, this mysterious orb guides them to another weird event. No one else is home, and yet they see wet footprints outside of the shower that lead to nowhere. Maybe one of them showered and left, but I think most people would pick up the towel first. It's a creepy video, but all of these ghostly encounters would be easy to fake with the help of a third person. So I'm wondering if that's exactly what they did. This video was taken in 2001 by the Mills family while hiking Marble Mountain in Maine. Their leader, Jim Mills, zooms in on what could be a humanoid watching them across a pond.
At us?
I don't see it.
Moving now.
The tree is? It's to the right of him. It's walking that way. Trees. Okay. See the King's Castle? Yeah. He's kind of little.
As it approaches the group, we get a better glimpse at its strange shape. Even from this distance, its shoulders look broad, and it has a powerful lower body with arms that come down to its knees.
It does not look like a person. Its arms are way too big. Look at how long the hands hang down to the...
At 6 minutes and 9 seconds, the creature seems to point at them and wave its fist. My theory is that, assuming this is real, the creature is guarding its only water source and telling them to come no closer. You may think that this creature looks somewhat small from this distance, but considering the fact that his camera is zoomed all the way in, it's actually giant, but it could also simply be CGI. When ghosts need a clean getaway, they simply possess moving objects. Sometimes these objects are motor vehicles, or so this clip would suggest. Published by Truebill in January of 2018, the short video purports to show the paranormal possession of a car parked in a parking garage. This white vehicle rocks side to side. Its doors open and shut, and its alarm starts going off, all while no one is near it. Even the windshield wipers start swiping, while its back door flings open and closed. Soon the car's paranormal activity sets off every car alarm in its row. The car is later seen driving through the garage, apparently without anyone at the wheel. When the security guard sees there's no driver, he races off. Is this a driverless vehicle, or is a ghost taking this car out on a joyride? One is a lot scarier than the other. Australian YouTuber Sam Marsh is exploring far north Queensland when something odd crawls out of the forest to better observe him. Down the dirt road stands a tall creature roughly the same height as Sam. 53 seconds is when you can see a prominent head jutting forth as the creature inches back into the forest from whence it came. Sam walks to where it was and finds a well-worn path leading deeper into the dark forest. Looking back at him is the carefully concealed figure with a long neck and a white head. At 1 minute and 48 seconds, it turns back to look at him. What is it? The next time you shower, don't look up. Published by Tia Bassi in March of 2022, this creepy video shows what could be the hair in your drain come to life. The clip shows a shower curtain pulled to the side, while up in the corner near the ceiling is this extraterrestrial-like critter. It looks spidery, but with even more legs than usual. It somehow also looks like a great pile of tangled hair. What do you think this is? I think it's time to throw the whole house away. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a humanoid figure in the sky. Posted by L. Nelson, Gonering in October of 2017. This mysterious humanoid was caught flying or floating over Sydney, Australia. This sighting lasted all of 5 minutes, with this figure disappearing and reappearing as the camera zooms in and out. What do you think this is? Is it explainable, or could it be something not of this world? I've seen similar videos in the past, and they have never been explained either. Could this possibly be connected? I just know I'd question everything if I looked out my window and saw a floating human in the sky. A ghost has no use for a haircut, but apparently that doesn't stop one from haunting a famous barber shop called GQ Cuts in La Puente, California. Caught on security cam is a ghostly guest slipping under a blue gown.
That just moved. Like that just moved. Like that just moved. I'm not gonna break it. That right there just moved.
Everyone, even the woman getting her hair cut, is nervously looking at the chair, waiting for it to move again, which it doesn't. But hold on, nobody sees the scariest moment of all on the shelf above them.
That just moved. Like that just moved. Like that just moved. I'm not gonna break it.
A creepy mannequin head turns towards him while he tries to tell everyone what he saw. Thankfully, the moving objects were caught on tape to prove him right. Then again, it could be this fan on full speed that's blowing objects around. In this paranormal investigation at the haunted Honeycutt farm, Sonny Deeds is given the mark of the devil. They first hear something walking around the farm in the darkness.
What the that? Like walking, right?
And moments later, Sonny appears to be stung by something, but that something isn't a wasp. It's the devil.
I'm telling you, this is spirit says.
Dude. Something's burning, dude.
What?
Something's burning me.
Once safely away, he takes a look at the marking.
Dude, here, take my what is something is burning me.
There's a handprint on you, bro. Yo, I don't even like this, dude. I don't even want to be here. Literally, I do not want to be here right now.
Dude, it's clearly a handprint, but seems to be burned into his flesh.
Get a shot.
And if that wasn't enough of a warning, maybe this is.
When CJ! Are you with me?
No, I'm outside the door.
Through the spirit box, the demon correctly identifies him.
Tell us who you are. Come forward and speak through this spirit box. I don't know what they just said.
I don't know what it said.
Sonny. Holy bro.
Sonny looks incredibly disturbed by all of this.
Communicate with Sonny, and clearly, like, the more I look at that on your, what is it, on your ribs?
On my side.
Like right on his side, it's like a clear, like something trying to grab him with their hand.
And as they're gathering their things to leave, the demon lets them know he's still watching.
I don't know what to do.
Like the key to.
Does the devil truly live on Honeycutt Farm? I don't know. That burning handprint is proof enough for me. Get thee to a nunnery. That's what this ghost of a nun did, and it didn't turn out well for her. Dima from YouTube channel A Sip of Fear encounters the nun's ghost in this scary video. First, he sees an unexplained shadow. Then he hears an unexplained noise.
Кто здесь?
He senses something in this abandoned church. Still not seeing anything, a Steadicam captures a quiet noise at night. Later, footsteps are heard. While we don't get a glimpse of the notorious nun, I can feel her presence in this sacred place, and it sure doesn't feel holy. If you encountered ghost footprints at your workplace, would you be able to continue working there as though nothing happened? Published to YouTube by Korean channel Saiwon Yoon in April of 2020, the uploader writes, "The footprints of ghosts caught by the CCTV in the recording studio. The surveillance footage shows a recording studio at night. After capturing an odd glitch on camera in a certain area of the studio, which the uploader notes look like footprints, the crew sets up some paranormal sensors to see whether or not any spirit activity exists in the room. As you can see, the sensors are blowing up. They indicate something is moving in the darkness. Imagine sensing a paranormal presence in the studio, something you cannot see with the human eye, and then having that presence confirmed via these sensors. The idea certainly disturbs some sound technicians. YouTuber High and Sick Woo wrote in the comments, I was also surprised when I watched the video. I can't broadcast alone. I can't go to the studio at night. Would you be able to after seeing this? Because this footage appears real to me. A young woman was walking home late at night when she was met with a worst case scenario. Someone was following her. Posted to TikTok by Carolina Judah. The TikToker captures a montage of her journey from the foggy streets to the bus to a dark walk on her road home. A man is seen standing behind the bus stop. He is nothing but a shadow. She says she ignored him and just continued walking. Capturing a shot between her though, she finds that he's trailing her about 20 feet away. As the journey continues, he seems to be speeding up, and in fact, he gets closer. He appears to be wearing a hood. Carolina says he began shouting something at her, and she thought he'd been drinking. He falls behind a ways, and as soon as she rounds a bend, she sprints home. Although she couldn't see him anywhere when she arrived, 20 minutes later she heard the doorbell at the gate. She called her mom, but there was no answer, and outside her window she spotted the man standing just outside the gate. The man later jumped the gate, crossed the garden, and tried yanking on the door handle. Carolina locked herself inside the bathroom waiting for her parents to arrive. He eventually stopped, but she stayed put, too afraid to move. In the video's comments, TikTokers suggest not to walk home when you're being followed, but rather lead the stalker to someplace with people and/or bright lights. This route looked like it had neither, so what should she do in this case? Any suggestions? Ashley uses the reality ripple in her room and realizes one of her dolls is haunted. She is able to see a little ghost attached to the doll itself. In this still picture, you can see her blonde hair and also kind of see a scary face on the ghost girl as well. A haunting expression permanently locked in a scream.